Okay. Dave, I'm gonna switch you to the other team. So.
He was locking onto me. He was locking onto me, and you just saved my ass, Jarman.
You're welcome.
I thought if you flew low, you'd lose your lock, but I guess not. Is that a myth?
I don't know.
Like getting...
Oh, blow radar from choppers, yeah. If you fly low enough.
Yeah, no, I mean... Yeah, if I fly, like, if I'm getting locked onto and I just fucking, like, hit the dirt kind of shit. Isn't that?
Yeah, it'll lose a lock, but then you probably get killed immediately because you hit the dirt. But, yeah. Doesn't work for her.
Let's get this training underway. I have a hot date in like 2 hours.
Really?
Maybe an hour. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Who the fuck would date you?
I know, right? That's what Tinder's for, and she's not even fat. I'm so impressed.
Tinder. Ought to be a dude.
Yeah, man. I'm on your left. Don't crash into me.
Hey,
No, I already went and had dinner with her like an hour ago. And then yeah, and then she's an EMT, so she just went. She works in the ER, and she's an EMT, and she just went to go respond to a call.
Nice.
So, yeah. I knew her from a long time ago. You know, I would just want to stick my penis in it. Anyway.
Anyways, since we're live on stream, guys.
Oh God, shit! Oh God, no. I forgot. Oh my God. Shit.
All right, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Starting.
All right, so training.
So we're gonna start off with infantry stuff. So, Bravo Alpha. Are we all in the same squad?
Yeah, I took Bravo Alpha or Bravo, so.
It doesn't really matter. You can bring the tank if you want. Best way to start off, just pick the best class that you think you work well with it.
All right, let me redeploy then.
Pick your best loadout. The one that you feel the most comfortable with, because, you know, every Battlefield player has to be good on infantry. Because no matter how long you play, no matter what you do, you will end up falling on infantry. Are you streaming? Are you streaming?
I am, yeah.
Okay. So, do you guys know the difference between hardcore and normal, right? Can you name the top differences? Yeah, faster time to kill. Limited HUD. So, just like... So, for your limited HUD, there's no mini-map, no crosshair. Yeah, full mag reloads. So, full mag reloads plays a major part in hardcore. A lot of people don't realize this. That when you reload your gun and you have a full mag, you're gonna lose all those bullets. So a lot of people have a tendency, especially in first-person shooters, to reload after every kill. It's probably one of the hardest things to do, but you gotta realize how many bullets are in your mag before you actually go into the battlefield. The best way to do it is probably go into the test range, test out different weapons, and see how many bullets you have. You can't really count each and every bullet, especially when you're using like a machine gun or a PDW assault rifle. You have to... It takes a while to get used to realize how many weapons you have, but you can always find ammo in the battlefield.
beeping, man. The beeping.
So there's one more thing that's a major difference in hardcore. Do you know what it is? It has to do with
There's two.
vehicles. Oh, two. Right?
Yeah.
Well, what's the one are you thinking of? I'm
No health
thinking.
regen.
Oh yeah, no health regen. Everyone realizes that, but any damage, no health regen, no magical repair in vehicles. Right. And there's one more thing, and it's no third-person vehicles. Right. So with the faster time to kill, a lot of people think that hardcore is made for snipers, especially people like Survivor. But hardcore, that's a misconception that it's a one-shot kill with snipers.
It's not.
It's not. And
Depends on the rifle you're using, and it depends on how far away the person is from you.
It's a one-shot headshot, though, isn't it?
right.
It still depends on the rifle you're using.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people, there's a lot of norm players that think that hardcore, if you get shot in the foot, you're dead. But it's not true. Sometimes you spawn in, you might get shot
Well,
by
I mean,
a
it
sniper.
is to an extent.
Yeah, I mean, if you have damage taken out.
Yeah, here, look. Yeah. No, hold on. Yeah, that was half your health, yep. Yeah, well.
Deep. Okay, so playing with the squad, there's a lot of people have the problem of spacing. Spacing is the number one thing, especially in hardcore. So, for example, if you do spawn in the squad leader, because there's only squad leader spawns, just take a second to actually start moving, especially when the squad leader is. So you would jump in, spawn right next to the squad leader, and if the squad leader is walking towards Alpha, Survivor, then a lot of people have the tendency to actually stick with their person. But what you're setting up for is an easy collateral. There's many times where you might just shoot one person and actually kill two people, and you don't know where you kill the second person, but it happens. So when you spawn in, try to keep a decent space around your squad, knowing where your squad is, and keeping that space could save your whole squad from getting wiped. My bad, I'm just nappy over there teabagging, kind of threw me off.
Yeah, this is not what you do.
Right, you don't want to.
Is that?
There's
You don't want
nothing.
to spawn in, especially on other maps. You're going to run into blueberries as well, right? And blueberries, you might actually spawn in the same location as them, and they end up bumping into you when you run. You could tell you're bumping into the person because you kind of glitch out a little bit.
Yeah,
Just-
if you slow
just-
down, you bounce around.
Yeah, you will slow down. Right. Yeah, and just all you have to do is just stop for a second. It'll give you space from that blueberry, and you can move. When moving, you want to think cover to cover, right? So you never want to just run straight into the open because you will get killed immediately. There's always someone watching you, right? That's the way I look at it. I don't know about anyone else. But when I spawn in, I always think there's going to be an enemy watching you. Especially in hardcore. You can't really tell because there's no 3D spotting. You might have this sniper that's fucking 100 yards away from you. That killed you? Oh, someone died.
He fell to his death.
Oh.
With his legs.
Right, so when you're looking, let's say we're coming from here and we got to go attack Alpha, right? Coming down here, what do you think would be the best path? Right, yeah, exactly. You did the right thing. A lot of blueberries, you'll see them actually just run to an objective. I mean, it's possible to do, but it's a high risk for your death. So just simply either run by walls, run to rock. There's little rocks everywhere that hold you cover. Fences give you cover as well. Just take your time. There's no need to actually rush onto an objective. Alright? Even if you're losing the objective, there's no need to rush into it. Because you're rushing into it from the open, and the enemy sees you, they're just going to watch and run in, die immediately. And people get upset with that, like, nappy, but... So...
I'm gonna take A. That way you can spawn interchangeably and actually have stuff
Okay.
where it can make sense.
Also, what I use, because there's going to be times where you stand into the open when you're actually just fighting someone. Let's say there's a guy in alpha and you see him and you have no other shot but to either fight him 1v1 or run away from him where he's probably going to kill you anyways. So what I do with every class, I run smoke. Smoke is probably your greatest tool. A lot of people don't realize what smoke does. If you can't see him, they can't see you, right? But
And Fleurs can't see it either.
Yeah, Fleurs can't go through smoke.
And B Fleurs can't see through it.
Right. And especially against tanks, if you're playing, let's say you're playing medic and there's a tank that rolls around the corner, he's 99% of the time he's going to run thermals, right? Or a night vision. So all you got to do is just pop a smoke. And when you pop a smoke, just think of it as a wall. You want to build a wall between you and that enemy, right? You could pop smoke on yourself, but you're going to get lost in that smoke. So, for example, if you just need to get away, pop a smoke and use it as a wall cover. You can still shoot through it, and let's say if you're running a laser, you will see the laser through the smoke. That's one of the biggest things. So, also another tool with the smoke, if you're getting sniped from a long distance away, you pop a smoke grenade, you will actually see the glint through the smoke. And you will see where the enemy is coming from. Right? Yeah. So, a lot of people don't realize, but you actually see the glint from distance, and you're like, okay, there's a sniper over there. Well, where do I go next, right? Because you're not gonna fight him 1v1. You got ammo? Let me get some ammo. There we go. So, is that you on the rooftop survivor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're running from cover to cover, right? And you see a dude. Wait, when you see a group of people, who do you shoot at first? Right, exactly. So you wanna take care of your biggest risk. Especially in hardcore, you wanna know when to fight and when not to fight. There's a lot of engineers that see a fucking tank and they run up with it with a rocket, even though there's 3 tanks in an LV in that position, and they're just gonna die, respawn and die again. Every time you die, you're losing a ticket for your team, and the only thing that really matters is actually winning the match. So let's say you fall behind a whole squad of enemies, right? They don't see you, and you see a medic, sniper, and a support player. Who do you take out first? The medic, exactly. Right? He can't revive, he can't, But let's say if the sniper turns on you, you gotta take care of your biggest risk, right? So there's times where you gotta choose your battles and choose not to battle. If let's say you're on alpha objective and there's 2 tanks there and you're the only person on the objective, you don't want to go up and try to fight them 1v1 because you're not gonna win. You might be able to get a few shots in, get them down to probably disabled, but a communicating tanks, a communicating squad will immediately wipe you out. Alright. So we're going to talk about attacking objectives now, right, as an infantry player. The greatest tool you have as an infantry player is your big map. You guys know how to use your big map, right? Or how to open your big map? Just hold your options buttons, right, like how we bring up your scoreboard, and push R1. Right? And it brings up your big map, and you can see...
I'm going to hold your options button.
Yeah, you have to hold the options button. Yeah. Then push R1, and you go from your scoreboard to your big map. If you look at your option button and hold it again, your big map's still going to be there. It's whatever you had it on last. Right? You could... Yeah, just hold your options button. When we die, a lot of experienced players, when you're playing as a squad and communicating with players on your squad, when you die, hold your options button. Because there might be a guy flanking behind your squad, and even though you're dead, you can still see him. Yeah. So there's no 3D spotting, but you can actually still spot enemies, and they'll still pull up on the map. Even though they fire as well, you'll see them getting on the map. Getting shot at by a sniper, you might actually just need to hold your options button to see where he's actually at, because you don't really know. So if you do get shot at from a sniper from distance, you don't know where it's coming from, but he keeps on missing because you're moving cover to cover, he will fire. He will keep firing at you, and you will be able to see where the fire is coming from. Right? So when you go into an enemy-controlled objective, the first thing you want to notice is how many people are actually on the objective. So if you get onto the objective and you're not taking it, so there's obviously one or more players, right? And when the families get on it, you start taking it. So if you get into the objective by yourself, hold your options button, and if you're not taking it, you got to realize how many families are here. So you hear me and Survivor and Happy, we'll be saying all the time, are you on objective? Are you on or are you off? Right? So you want to know how many people are actually on. For example, David, you're on objective, but you're not taking it, right? So you automatically know there's more than one player, one enemy player. So if I say, oh, I got on objective, and we start taking it as a squad, oh, so there's only one enemy player, right? There might be times where your whole squad is actually on it. So you gotta, and sometimes when your whole squad is on it, you're not even close to taking it, right? So if the objective is contested by enemy players, start counting out your kills. We're trying to neutralize the objective. That's the overall goal when we're attacking it. And you. So when you're taking an objective and there's actually a squad of people on the objective, you might actually kill the player and it will start marking down. But knowing how many teammates you have on an objective is your greatest tool. Because you might be on objective by yourself and actually start taking it with another blueberry. But you might think you're clear, but you're actually not. Right? You know, there might be a sniper in the corner or whatnot. And it's one of the greatest tools to have. That's why I always keep my big map up. You don't have to hold your big map and like actually run with it. You could just take a little quick peek, know where you're at, and see. Just count. Have a quick count, right? Feel free to ask your squad, like, are you on? Are you off? Right? There's no shame in doing so. Right? So when you take an objective, Survivor, go hide somewhere. Right? When you come into objective, you want to go from building to building. Right? We talked about cover to cover. Right? Same thing on an objective. You want to go building to building. So let's say the enemy is taking the objective back and we step onto it as a squad. We know the enemy is here. Right? So we want to start doing building to building. You guys don't have to all group up in one building. Just feel free to go to a building. Try to find the dude. Take your time and actually go through the whole objective itself. Because there might just be that one dude that's sitting in a corner or sitting in a bush.
Yeah, don't sprint all the time, though.
Right. You want to worry about your sound as well. Because sound plays a major part into it. Especially in hardcore. Right? You might actually be in a building by yourself and hear footsteps above you or below you, glass breaking. Right? Did anybody find Survivor yet?
Oh, we're looking for him?
Yeah, that's good.
Matt found you?
Yep.
So we took control of the objective. We found the enemy. We neutralized the enemy. Right. Nappy, I'm gonna switch you to survivor scene. Okay.
No.
Yeah, so you're not running Dice the Lake him on that class either, Nappy.
Oh, I'm not?
No,
Thank you. I will put it on.
but you can't now. You can
Smart.
switch to the other team.
Well, I mean, I could put it on this one because I'm not fucking wearing it on this either. You want me as a certain class or something? Or no?
No, it doesn't matter. Right. So now, since we took the objective, we gotta defend the objective. Right. That's the next step into it. So we're defending an objective. You gotta understand where the enemy is gonna spawn. Right. Let them take Bravo so they have a spawn point. So, for example, we just took Alpha and your squad leader says, let's defend Alpha. Right? You gotta understand where's the enemy gonna come from. Think the objective as a spawn point. Don't think of it as an objective itself. Because if the enemy has it, they can spawn it. So you wanna neutralize your spawn points. Right?
A lot of people don't understand the importance of defending either. They just constantly attack.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing in Battlefield. A lot of people, a lot of squad leaders, they have the tendency to just run alphabetical order and just attack objectives. But defending objectives, they actually do it as well. We'll talk about actually squad leading in like another day. But so we took Alpha, and the squad leader said defend Alpha, right? You got to understand where the enemy is coming from. They take Bravo now, so about 90% of the time they're going to be coming for Bravo, right? So you want to set you up in position in buildings or in cover to see where they're coming from, right? As a good enemy team would, especially as you as well, is run from cover to cover. So you got to think, where is the enemy coming from? Are they going to come from their base? Are they going to come from Charlie? Are they spawning up in the upper village, right? You will see where the enemies is coming from. Even when you're attacking...
Are we weapons free for this or no?
Shh.
Are we attacking your objective or no?
Yeah, attack the objective. I'm not going to shoot, but if you guys want to fight the other two, that's up to you.
Yeah, I'm saying, are we weapons free or not? That's what I was asking you. I'm not sure.
Well, it's just tag. Bullet shot tag.
Same with mine. I can tag with a pistol.
Alright. So you want to find where the objective is coming from. So you hear his call all the time. They're coming from Bravo. They're coming from the other village. They're coming from Charlie, right? Or they're coming from their base side. That's when you find an enemy and able is to call it out for your squad. Because communication plays a major part in hardcore. Right. So, and even if you're not communicating with your squad, you're just saying with randoms, feel free to just spot them. If you see them, spot them, right? There's no shame. If you're not unsure if it's an actual enemy or like an enemy tank or an empty tank, just spot them. There's no shame in doing this. It's either you're going to spot them or not spot them, right?
Yeah, and know which team you're on. Because
listen for call-outs, by the way.
The enemies call-outs, you'll actually hear it. If you know what team you're on, then you know which language your team should be speaking.
Right.
So, like for this map, if you were to hear someone that called something out in Russian, you would know that it's an enemy and not friendly.
Yeah, especially when they drop medics or saying other shit, because your soldier just randomly talks all the damn time. And I don't know why, but that's a part of listening as well. So, also the thing about defending objectives, you got to realize about vehicles, because vehicles plays a major role, right? So let's say your squad just wiped out 3 tanks, right? You got to think, okay, where are the tanks at? Where are the enemy vehicles?
Respawn times.
Respawn times. You gotta be There's a lot of things that has to go through your mind and realize. And that's why it's best playing with a squad, because you might not realize it, but someone else might have. And they might be like, okay, here we go. So you have any questions so far, Dave? No? You're actually kind of getting some of it? Right. Yeah. Okay, so cover. We didn't talk about this cover. We didn't talk about what actually is cover. Right?
Hold on real quick, if you're on the flag and there's enemies there, the last thing that you want to do is parachute, because that's one of the loudest things you can do.
Right. Parachute, jump down. I mean, there might be times where you need a parachute and get out
Well,
of the
yeah, if you
building.
have to, you can do it, but like if you can spare the time to like go downstairs and stuff, do that instead.
Right. So do you know what the worst thing to do when you're on objective is, David? The worst thing you could actually do when you're defending an objective or attacking an objective is sitting in a corner. Right. Yeah, well, you're okay because you're in a bush, you're against a wall. You have so if you're on the other side of the wall, right. So come over here on the other side of the wall. If you're actually just sitting in a corner like this, you're gonna get killed. Because you might actually think you got a wide range of things to shoot, but you only have one way to get away, right? Because the only way you could go is forward, and that's towards the enemy, right? You might, right. So when you're actually attacking an objective or defending objective, always stay moving. You can stay into a building, right? But don't. Same thing in the buildings. You don't want to sit into a corner, because if you go into a building and you're sitting in the corner, and a good player would actually just straight up kill you because you're sitting right there, right? And you have no real option. You can't really go left, can't really go right because you're just stuck in that corner. And you see a lot of players doing that. So, alright. So when you clear out buildings, we're going to talk about clearing out buildings. We'll go into the schoolhouse building. Right here. Let me turn off this fucking Chinese radio real quick. Where's this radio at?
It's on the second floor, isn't it? I don't think it's upstairs.
Oh, shit. Oh, fuck it. Okay, not supposed to. Let's just go and... Let's go on these double buildings over here. The ones that are right next to each other. Shit. Okay. So, for example, we're talking about clearing out buildings 1v1, right? There's multiple entries into the building. You got the doors and you got the windows. You got hostile flow of fucking walls. Right, but we're not gonna do that right now. Blowing up walls
Radio's
is
off. If you want to try schoolhouse.
okay. Yeah, let's go back to schools.
It's outside on the second floor.
Oh yeah, I knew it was. So we're on the second floor. So this is a schoolhouse building. We call it schoolhouse because it looks like it's a school, right? There's desks and everything, right? Take your time clearing out objective. Sweep the floor, and you see the stairs. Always peek the stairs in an ADS form, right? So you're peeking it, but when you run up the stairs, you don't actually want to turn. You want to turn actually before you get up the stairs, right? Because you got the opening like that. Damn it, happy. Yeah, but you saw how you did that, right? So when you come up the stairs, you want to swing yourself around the stairs before you actually turn the corner. Right, so you're ready in there. And there's other stairs that lead upstairs as well, right? That lead up to the rooftop. You want to be able just to peek your head out a little bit. Don't actually run up there, right? If you want to just clear it, make sure they're not up there. Just do a little head peek, and you're good to go. There you go. You got it. Right? Right. But it happens. Is the thing about first-person shooters. That's why you want to be aware of. Give yourself that advantage before you actually put yourself in a bad situation. Because again, they might be in this room, and if you're already turned around the corner, feel free. There's also times where I actually walk up backwards around the corner, right? Because if I know they're in there, I can actually just walk up backwards, put my back to the wall, and just shoot him in the head with the ADS already. So I don't have that time where you actually turn. So like we're going up here as well, just a little pixel peek it and clear it out, right? See how that works? So you don't have to, you don't run all the way up there. There's a dude just prone in the corner of the roof. He's able to shoot you. So if he does shoot you, right, and you know he's up there, and you can just walk down a little bit, sit yourself in that situation, and get that 1v1 integration. Because in hardcore, it's all about winning those 1v1s. Because there's a faster time to kill, less health, and he has no other option but to jump down the roof. So, alright. Also, don't feel free to fucking blow up fucking walls. When you're defending, you gotta think, try not to stand against the wall when there's like, for example, if there's a tank on Alpha, enemy tank, pulling in, and you know the tank is there. You don't want to stand next to the wall because the tank's gonna just blow up the wall and kill you. Right. So if you do have you need a fast escape, feel free to blow up a wall and just run and get the fuck out of there. Because there's times where you're gonna have to just run and get the fuck out of there. It happens a lot, right, guys? Yeah. So, what else do we need to cover? Did I miss anything so far? About attacking and defending? Okay, so there's gonna be times where you're actually gonna run into the open, right? There's gonna be times where we run through a field as a squad. Never try to help the mentality to not run in a straight line, right? Do a little zigzag, right? Because they're actually gonna try to shoot you, and if they shoot you from the front, the back, they're gonna miss, right? Did you get him? Oh no. That's all you, David. Kill him.
我看见了敌兵。
So you're on low health anyways. Did you die in that? Oh, you did.
嘿，你的衣
Okay,
箱
I'm。gonna use your gun. Are you on point? No, you're on point. So is there anything we missed or didn't cover so far? Guys?
Flag assets.
Oh yeah, flag assets. So, do you know what flag spawns vehicles on this map, David? Or what objective? See, what does this spawn? Right? Deliver. Do you know what else? Yeah, so there's a chopper on Charlie, the rocket check is at Foxtrot, there's an LAV at Golf, and there's an LAV at Echo, right? But one of the major points on this map that people don't realize is Delta. Any movable
It's the most
point,
important flag.
yeah, any movable point is the most important flag. Because if you could take it to your base, right? It's just free points adding up for your team.
Yeah, and vehicle respawn times are generally, for air vehicles, they're 90 seconds. So if you take out a chopper or a jet, it's 90 seconds until it's ready to use again. So if you take out an enemy chopper, you know you have 90 seconds until you're good enough to have to fight another one.
Yes.
For air vehicles, yeah. I think it's either 60 or 90 for land vehicles.
I think it's 90 as well. We probably have to check the stats for that as well. But go ahead. So, we'll get more into depth about squad leading in another video. But if you bring up your map, right? So, you see Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie, right? It forms a triangle. I call objectives like that the golden triangle. Because as an infantry point, you don't want to run from Alpha to Echo, right? Or Alpha to Foxtrot. I mean, you might actually get there, but what's the chance you're actually going to get there and live before the enemy starts taking your objectives? So, you want to get the closest 3 points as an infantry player and try to move within between them. So, if we had Alpha, Bravo, try to get Charlie because it's the golden triangle, right? If you take 3 as an infantry squad, your tanks can worry about Golf, Foxtrot, Echo, right? Delta, let them maneuver fast in between. So if you ever hear us talking like, oh, let's work on this golden triangle, we're talking about the 3 objectives right next to each other, right? Or like Parcel Storm, there's 2 objectives with a Charlie Delta with a connector island, right? You know what I'm talking about? And you want to, yeah, as an infantry squad, because it's the fastest objectives we could go through too, right? And cover a lot of ground. So you gotta know what your limit is as an infantry player. You don't want to rush, even though the enemy might have Delta, right? It might not be best for your whole squad to go against it, right? So just feel free. Always remember to defend. There's no shame in defending. The role of Battlefield is to have more objectives, right? So you want to get more objectives. This is where we get pissed at Vheicle players for camping on the hillside with 2 tanks because they're actually not helping and taking other objectives. So, as an infantry player, if you do get into that squad leader point, always look for the easiest objective for your squad to live, right? And be able to defend. Because we could run Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and no better time, right? So, we talked about gun sounds, right? And we talked a little bit about enemy movement, right? So you want to know where the enemy is coming from. So let's say we took Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie, right? And we have Delta and like all the other objectives, and we know their vehicles are gonna spawn soon. We gotta know they're gonna come from the base. So it's kind of important to realize where these vehicles are gonna come from.
So you want to do vehicle sounds.
Yeah, well, that counts as sound as well. So there's you hear chopper jets, right? With the choppers, there's actually distinct sounds between little birds, attack choppers, and transporters. Right? You might actually hear a chopper flying overhead. You don't know where it is. That's where your map comes into play, right? Don't hear it. You hear a chopper, and you don't know if it's friendly or not. Just look at your map. If you don't see a friendly chopper, it's an enemy, right? Same thing for tanks. If you hear a tank or an LAV, just go and check your big map and see if there's actually a friendly or whatnot. Right. So there's distinct sounds between LVs, tanks, jeeps, and raps, rocket trucks. All vehicles sound different. There is factions that use the same type of vehicle, like like China and Russia. They use it. Yeah.
Same little bird.
Same little bird. Right. But we'll get into more of that when we're talking about vehicles itself. So, you guys want to get a tank? Survivor? Tank or LAV? We deploy. We're going to talk a little about engineer. We're going to go through class to class. Right. Oh, David and Matt. Oh, if you want, redeploy. We're going to go engineer. And we're going to talk about your gadgets and whatnot. So if you go in your kit, for your engineer kit, and go to Gadget 1 or Gadget 2, right, you always want to have a rocket. Some type of rocket, right? So, but your second objective is, your second gadget is up to your choice. A lot of players, what do you
Moving up to the
Roberto?
next fight. I'm gonna go
Right.
take this one.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Roberto is great, right? But if you're not, yeah, but if you're not actually gonna run into a vehicle or run with a vehicle, there's no really point in running one because. But if you're in a vehicle, you're driving a vehicle, you 100% you want a repair tool, right? Personally, I run the AA mines, but I think it's
Need
like
the Naval Strike DLC.
the Ava Strike TLC, right?
Yeah, if you get 3 min, it'll be cheaper than each individual.
EOD bots
It's
are
not really worth it.
it's
Good
not
in
really
rush.
worth it. It's useful, right? But they're just fucking a total troll and conquests. Right. M2 slams. M2 slams could go on walls. Yeah.
Yeah, if you throw them on the cars.
On the truck, yeah. Yeah, they don't really realize it. If you run slams, I strongly recommend you run a flare with it if you're going to put it on the floor or a mine as well, right? Because a lot of, like we talked about, a lot of vehicles run thermals, right? And slams or mines show up in thermals. If you put them down and you throw a flare on top of them, they're going to get blinded from the flare. And if they're going to get out of the thermal and be like, oh, that's a flare, I'm just going to drive right over it. But actually, there's three
Which flag are
fucking
you guys at?
mines. I'm in a deployment stream.
Okay.
So, the decoy, if I use it a lot on locker, right? Because you could, let's say there's a rocket truck in their base, right? You can't really fight it, but if you throw a decoy out in like in a bush or something or under a rock, he's gonna focus on that decoy because he thinks it's the enemy. So it's gonna save your team from actually getting fucking bombarded from mortars, right?
Decoy's final stand.
Oh, decoy is final stand, right?
Yeah.
Nah, rockets. So the major two rockets are RPGs and the small. The straw is a good one, and the law is probably the easiest one. RPG does the most damage. Small does average damage, but it's a faster speed than the RPG.
Reload's slower than the RPG as well.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, you can reload cancel, but it's still faster with the RPG. Yeah, if you reload cancel the RPG, it's still faster than reload cancel in the small.
But I think the law reloads the fastest, right?
Yeah, the law reload is the fastest. And I think it's tied with the small.
Right.
Because it's basically, it just throws it away and grabs another one as opposed to reloading.
Yeah, laws are probably the easiest one to use because all you gotta do is just shoot at a target and it will actually smart hit it. So it's just like a what's it called? Thing in the tank, staff shot,
Staff shell.
right? Where it just shoots at it and it hits them straight down. Let's say you see a quad bike. It's a one shot kill on a quad bike. Rib boats you could kill like 4 people with actually destroying the rib boat. But only does 21 damage, right? You got your straw. Straws are very great to use, but because you can lock on as well. The law also locks on as well, right? All the lock on rockets you can't use inside of a chopper,
In
right?
vehicles in general, even passenger of a Jeep, you can't use it.
Yeah. So then you have your
Javelin, basically disregard it.
yeah. I mean the
It's
javelin it does a lot of
it's
damage,
fine.
but you have to hold on to your lock. And one flare when a tank driver knows if he's getting shot at, he's just gonna pop actives and you're just gonna waste it, and he's gonna see where he's getting shot at and
Yeah,
kill
I think
you.
it does like 30 damage a rocket, and you can easily do more than that from a side shot with the RPG or a small.
Right.
So
So stingers lock onto air targets. After you fire, you can forget about it, forget and fire, or fire and forget. That's what they call it. And it does decent amount of damage. The Igla, you have to lock onto the whole thing, right? But it does
yeah,
the most damage against air
yeah,
vehicles.
I think they both do 55. Yeah, the Igla has faster acceleration and top speed than the Stinger, and I think it has more range than the Stinger as well.
So I don't know if you guys know this. So your gadget 1 is left on your D-pad, and your gadget 2 is right on your D-pad, right? So if you go down to your field upgrades, as an engineer, um, as an infantry engineer, you want to run anti-tank, right? Yeah, because it gives you those extra rockets, and especially if you're fighting with a lot of vehicles, you want to have those extra rockets to hit. And one of the biggest ones that people forget about is the flak damage. It actually decreases from explosions for 50%.
Yeah,
And
but the mechanic is good if you're going to be a designated gunner in a vehicle because you can get out and repair faster.
right, repair faster. If if you're gonna be a tank driver, mechanic, and right, and that the level 4 repair unit is actually very great if you're playing with other people in other vehicles, because you don't have to get out. You could just actually pull up right next to them and repair them. Shadow doesn't work in hardcore as much. I mean,
Yeah, defensive isn't really worth it in hardcore either.
yeah, because you don't need quick entry. Your armor doesn't
Yeah,
really
that and the
count.
body armor doesn't
Yeah,
doesn't
the
give
ten
much.
percent. Offensive is very great for like medic support, everything else, right? Because you get the
Much,
faster
yeah.
sprint. You could also run support on offensive on engineer as well, but it's all up to you and what you want to choose. And if you haven't run the Desolate camo for everything, so did you get the tank?
Yeah, Epic's got a tank.
敌军坦克，
Yeah, you don't really need it unless you're playing on like locker if they're motoring outside or if you're really trying to flank around. Because you will still show up on the big map when you fire, but on more open maps like this, it doesn't matter so much.
Have we come up here? Nope. That's focus. So did you spawn back in, David? Okay. So fighting vehicles is probably one of the hardest skills to start actually learning a lot. So fronts and sides do the same amount of damage, and the rear
Uh,
does
Sides
double
do
it.
more than front.
Yeah, sides do more than front, but you want to hit for that rear shot. The rear shot is a money shot, right?
Yeah, and you want to hit as perpendicular as you can because the angle matters as well as the side.
Right. So if you hit them in the rear for a tank, because LEVs, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, LAV,
Right.
all the sides are the same.
Yeah, that's it. So, no.
No.
Unfortunately not. Right. Yeah, so if you do take a tank, right, you want to realize, or an LEV, you want to see where the turret is and where their ass is, right? Because
Yeah, the
you want to
easiest
make
way
sure.
to do that is if we spot it and look at the big map.
Right.
The way that it shows the tank facing is the way that the body of the tank is facing, not necessarily the turret.
我看到了敌军坦克。
Yeah, so if you're 1v1ing in the tank or against the tank, right, you want to fire and move, right? Hit, fire, move. Or fire, hit, move, right? Shall I say it? Shall I call it? Right, so
If you're using a rocket and you fire, you might as well just move as soon as you fire, because you're not going to be able to change its trajectory.
Right.
So,
For example, if I hit the side of the tank, I want to move myself while I'm reloading to get another shot, right? I didn't mean to kill you. I didn't know the 2 shots are gonna kill you. Same thing for LAVs as well. When you're 1v1, you want to get in, fire, hit, and move, right? Even if you miss, you want to fucking move. So if you're on target and you fire, you could just immediately start moving. You will see points on your screen on how much damage you're actually doing. That's why when we play as a squad and we focus on vehicles, we call out our damage, right? Because that 100%, if you count up to 100, that's 100% of the vehicle, right? It's not showing up in the server because it's a private server, but you will see us calling out as well. So remember, if you run smoke grenades work as well, but you want to use it as a wall, right?
but yeah, whoever's running that green laser, I can still see you.
Objective Alpha is now under our control.
It's mad. Green lasers bring you out a lot. So remember, you gotta think cover to cover as well, and you also gotta think what's your biggest stress, right? You might be in an objective and there's 2 vehicles show up, and you're by your damn self. You don't actually want to go fight that. You just want to, you don't want to die. You could run, or you could just stay into a cover. Let them take. There's no problem, because most likely they're gonna take and move to the next one, because they took it no problem, right? So let them take. Let them actually go, and if one, let's say the tank pushes to the Bravo, but the LEV stays, oh shit, I'm gonna try to fight this LEV 1v1.
Yeah, and when someone's in a vehicle, pay attention to the way their turret's facing too, because whichever way their turret's facing, if they get out, that's the side of the vehicle that they're going to get out on.
Right. Yeah. Same thing for choppers. Well, in choppers you can free look left or right, and jump out.
No, it's whatever way the turret's facing that you're using.
Yeah. Same thing for gunners as well, right? So if let's say you're in a gunner and you guys are gonna die from the right, look to your left and bail out. You could run from the left to cover. Right. Are you stuck there? No.
我看到了敌军坦克。
What do you forget? You want to get a chopper? Can you bring a chopper?
What?
Can you go to Charlie and grab that chopper?
Yeah, which
Doesn't matter. It's your call. How much do they aim mine? No,
No, it's all
360.
around, and it stops dumbfire rockets.
Yeah. So if you say green light, if you see a green light, don't shoot at the green light, right?
Yeah, and
But if
it's up for 2.5 seconds, and it's got a 20-second cooldown.
yeah, 20-second cooldown. It's a big cooldown. So if you do see a green light, pop that, Stephanie. So you see the green
One thing
light,
you can
then when it goes
do
away,
for
you got
tanks
20 seconds.
is don't fire at it right away. Try to sneak up behind it, fire once into its rear, which will make it usually immobilized so it can't move, and then wait a few seconds because most people will pop their actives right away
Yeah.
to try to stop a second shot, and then after you wait about 5 seconds, fire again because they're not going to be able to block it at that point.
Okay, so with Litterbirds, I got an A in mine, right? And I'll call out a lot that I have an A in mine ready for a chopper, right? So if you hit a chopper with an A in mine, it automatically mobility hits them, right? So if you hit a chopper with an A in mine, get ready to shoot it with a rocket. So I call it out a lot. So if I say I got an A in mine ready, I hit the chopper, right? So that thing's just floating there. So if you have a rocket, you're ready to fire because you might get an easy 4 kill or an easy kill on an attack chopper.
You can block it, but it's more of you have to know it's coming type thing.
Yeah.
Or you have to be far enough away that you have time to hit your countermeasures.
The thing about A mines, after you place it, you can't pick it back up. But let me redeploy. So the way, if you actually guys can run A mines, try to control where the vehicle is going to go, right? So come fly towards us, right? Like you're strafing.
How high up? How high
No,
up?
just come decently, like you're just contesting, right? So I'll point it right at him. It's gonna fire. I'll turn 180 and take my shot, right? He might miss, but there's times where you're gonna fire and kill him, right? So if you ever hear me call out, I got an AMI ready, or if you need an AMI and I die, just fucking pick up my kit. Really. Okay. Anything else for engineers? I think we covered everything.
Let's see if we can use another for engineers. I didn't count your rockets. Normally you start with 5 if you have the anti-tank perk, and you have it to whatever level it is. It gives you 7. So in best case scenario, normally when you start out, you can take out 2 tanks from 100 to 0 and take the next one down to 45%. Usually it doesn't happen, but that's best case scenario.
Right. So if you are hitting vehicles in a squad, or someone else is helping you, because you just need, if you use one other person, you could definitely murder vehicles. Take different routes. So if you're fighting a tank, one guy goes left, one guy goes right. He can't hit both of you guys at the same time, right? Unless he has a gunner. But most option they're gonna be flustered and not know what to do. It's easier to take them out. If you guys want to redeploy, we're gonna talk about assault.
Another thing about infantry, if you guys are getting killed by mortars a lot, put a suppressor on your gun.
Right.
Yeah,
Or muzzle
it'll
flash.
still use the map, and when you fire it, it'll show up.
Well, flash hiders do it too, right?
No,
No. It's
No?
a
flash
Oh,
hider
yeah, no.
just hide your flash.
flash hider, yeah, it's a flash itself.
Yeah, and it makes your spread decrease slower, so it's not really worth it unless you're on like the night map. Other than that, you're usually better off just running a regular suppressor.
So as an assault player, you want to run health, right? No matter what you,
Preferably the small bags.
yeah, preferably with small bags because you could pick them up and move them with them. But it's honestly up to you, right? Whatever you feel comfortable with. And your second gadget could be a wide variety. I just run defibs on it because that's just the way I am. But whatever you want to use, it's up to you.
if you have like more than one medic, you know what I mean, you could run the grenade launcher, but you know,
Yeah, most of the time you're better off running defibs though if you're actually
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so the
Because when you
perks,
revive it saves a ticket. So
right? Yeah, that's a major thing, especially when you're in a close game. If you die and respawn, you lose a ticket. But if you
yeah,
die
it's
and
every
don't
time you
respawn,
respawn, not when you die.
yeah,
So,
it's every time you respawn.
so like if a game starts getting really close towards the end and you end up dying, just don't spawn. Because that just usually
Hmm.
end up making your team lose faster.
Yeah, well, you hear us all the time, especially in close games. Like, I'm not gonna spawn. It might be your squad leader, but those tickets matter, right? Um, so with the two perks or the field upgrades, everything's this defensive, offensive, and shadows the same, but you also got combat medic, right? That's Grenadier's a great one as well. Um,
No, it's the same recoil in terms of numbers, but it's perceived as being higher just because of the magnification. So like using a 4x scope, it'll look like you'll have more recoil than if you have like a red dot sight or something, but it's actually not as much. It's the same. Yeah, it's the same. It's perceived as more just because of the magnification.
right. Preferably, I run um, combat medic. So, what am I doing? So, if you want to run either, grab a. What health pack do you guys have? The big ones? Oh, you guys do have the big ones. Okay, so the Big Macs are great, but the biggest thing is having it in the open, right? Because government place, I got him. Oh, never mind, he's gone. Right, so if you're running a,
He
yeah,
disappeared.
yeah, he's all the way over there.
Oh, but his body's right here. His body's right here for me.
His revives over there.
No, really.
Right. So if you're running the big bags you want, and you're gonna throw health, don't throw it in the open because it takes that decent time for you to heal yourself, right? And if you're just sitting here, well, a lot of people just when they hear need a medic, they just throw it in the open,
你的衣箱来了，拿好
and。you're actually
急救包
You want me to start getting used to using smaller packs again?
well the smaller packs in my opinion are better, but it's all definitely it's up to you. They're harder to throw,
你的衣箱来了，拿好。
right? Yeah, but think of the
The
big
bad
ones
thing
as
about the big one though is
areas.
if you're suppressed, they don't work.
Right. That's why you never want to
So
throw
like
it
even
into
if you
open.
get into cover and you're in the corner with it, if someone's shooting past that corner, you're not going to be healing.
Yeah.
Whereas the small ones will heal you until you get hit.
And the small ones, if you take any type of damage and you pick it up, it sticks with you, and it heals you. It heals you
Yeah,
while
but
you're.
you can throw them faster too. So if
Yeah.
you get hit, you can just quickly throw another one.
It's
Which
kinda,
one is the Yeti Rock? This one up here, right?
No.
he's all the way up there, the
The one all
northwest,
the way up.
the northwest, like
This one?
New York looking one,
Yeah.
or the Maine looking one.
Oh, really?
I got you.
接着你的医疗包。
Okay.
Where's the light?
谢了。
Where's the light? How do I do this? Oh, it's over there, Survivor?
I'm trying to remember.
So
It's somewhere.
so defibs, right?
Yeah, I don't have mana. If I ever die, I would have put them up.
到家了。
So you know about the charge, right? The
没
beep.
事了，医生。
If you try to kill someone, you need the beep to kill, right? So, but
I don't
knowing
remember.
how
Pretty sure
who
it's
to revive is a
that
thing,
way.
because you might have a whole
Yeah.
squad that died, right?
Does it
In the
not work
open?
in this server?
you don't want to go and run to your whole squad and try to revive them. If there's guy in cover, try to revive him. Look at the countdown timer. So if you see a guy that died on Bravo, a friendly that died in Bravo by the door, and he's almost gonna respawn, don't fucking risk yourself running to him to do that. If you take out your defibs or your knife, you run faster. Good little tool when you play locker, right? Yeah, you run a lot quicker. So you see in locker when we fucking spawn and we run to Charlie, we run with I run with the defibs because you don't look weird with it.
Yeah, Lonzo, where are you at? Are you running offensive right now or something that's got faster sprint?
I'm running combat.
Okay. Where are you at?
Right here. Go with the defibs.
Pull out your normal weapon and start running.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. But if you run all the defibs out, right? There's actually a decent. But you got the sprint break, so you're faster.
Yeah.
So, especially when you're in the open as well, and you need to get from point to point, fucking take out your knife, right? If you're in the dice LA camo, and there's a tank around the corner, take out your knife, right? And you're hiding in a bush, because all they can see is that little fucking knife.
Yeah,
right.
And if you need to get into cover quickly, one good thing you can do is to jump towards it, but let go of your movement, like the left analog stick, when you're in the air. Because when you land, if you're still moving, you basically stick to the ground, but if you jump and let go of everything, you slide a little bit.
Yeah. Especially when you turn the corner and you know there's an enemy there. That actually works as well. So you get that extra turn and slide. Yeah.
I found it.
You did? Hit it.
I am. Hold on. Everybody listen.
But yeah, it's always nice.
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shot the Yeti with a rocket.
So that's a nice little tip to learn. The whole jump and slide, right? So it works.
你一箱来了，快拿去！
Oh yeah, here's another thing about getting shot at. A lot of people, when they don't know where they're getting shot at, is going prone. Worst fucking
do
thing
that.
you can do. Right? Because if you go... Yeah, they already shot at you and you go prone in the open, they're going to automatically kill you. Right?
The other thing is, you're actually quieter when you're crouched than when you're prone. Most of the time, especially if you're just moving really slowly when you're crouched.
Come back here, hold on. That's cool. I can see your eyes through the light. You have light on your face. Look up.
Oh yeah, I can see that
Yep.
too.
Look down a little bit. Look down a little bit. There you go. Right there. Stop. Yeah. When he has light on his face, I could actually see your face. You're a human being. Yeah, you do. I didn't realize it was like that.
I didn't realize either. That's cool. Learn
Look into your
learn
eyes
something
while I
new
kill
every
you.
day. Okay, so medic, we miss anything in medic? So big bags don't throw it in the open. Feel free if like we're running as a squad and you see any health, just go ahead, go to the wall and just turn it and throw it.
第一箱来了，
Right?
拿好！
Give your squad that chance to live when they use it.
On hardcore, if I leave a med bag,
Yeah.
Same with ammo. One thing you can do is, if
Here, you can kill
I'm
me.
not on your team, so I can't tell. The ammo bags, does it have a symbol above it or not?
嘿，你一箱来了，快拿去！
Like if you look at the ammo box, it shows something.
Health box it does. We're all medics.
Yeah, okay. So if you see a symbol like that, or if you see a med box and you pull up your big map, same with
Oh, yeah.
the ammo, and you see a symbol on your map, that means it's friendly. So if you see an ammo or a med box and you pull up your map and look at it and there's no symbol to let you know that it's there, that means it's an enemy.
Right. And seeing the enemy
And
box
they
and
last
objectives.
until they throw another one.
Or they
Unless
die.
they're running the... Yeah, or they die. Unless they're running the combat medic or the one for support that lets you throw 2 boxes before it disappears.
So if you do kill a medic and you need health, just pick up their K real quick. Yeah, pick up your shit and throw it on the floor. Right? Even if you don't need it and you know your squad needs health or something like that, feel free to check. Sometimes they don't run in. Sometimes you run into fucking guys that run defibs and like get an M320. Stupidest
Or
fucking
that
thing.
support that runs like mortars and C4.
Yeah, mortars are a fucking UCAV, right? Like there's, I don't know why people do that. So that's the thing about it. So, or health. So what's next? Support, right?
Yeah.
Support's your main. That's great. So what do you run as your gadgets? Right. Well, the ammo box is probably better than the ammo pack itself.
Yeah,
Because
the
the ammo
pack
box
only gives you 2 magazines of ammo for whatever gun you're carrying, and that's it. The ammo box gives you grenades, gadgets, regular
explosives. Yeah.
ammo. Yeah.
Right. Um, so you got the airburst, right? Do you guys know how to use your airburst correctly? You know how to set it? Okay. Um, I'll grab that. Right. Then you also got your claymores, right? Your mortars. We'll talk about mortars, how you can use it attacking objectives without actually staying on your mortar. Your MPAPS is a great tool to use on locker, right? Because there's a lot of grenade spam on locker. People use that. UCAV is a skill-based thing. You don't want to be the dude using a UCAV from your base over and over. Ballistic shield is probably just like a troll tool. It works, right, for a shield.
But up until someone shoots a rocket at you, or a
Yeah,
sniper rifle,
you know, shoot a
or a
rocket,
grenade, or,
any
basically
explosive, you're
anything.
gonna die. Then you have your decoy.
But the ballistic shield's Dragon's Teeth, so... The green
No.
is where you're safe.
Yeah, green is safe. Green means it's on, right? Then it'll go red after an explosive comes near it, and it shoots an explosive. Then it'll
Yeah, that's the
make a
downtime.
beeping.
And if you use the gadget again while it's still set up, you can rotate the direction that it's facing without having to pick it up.
So your field upgrades, the indirect fire, is what I use the most because it has an ammo, right?
Yeah,
Then you have
indirect fire is probably
Yep.
the best just because you get an extra ammo box. And you don't really need the extra ammo, but because your support, you could just throw more. But it's
yeah,
the extra ammo box is nice, and the last thing you get, the convoy is nice because if you're near anyone in a vehicle with you, automatically gets resupplied.
and the two ammo bags or ammo crates right next to each other, the faster you get rockets back. So
Yeah, it basically
yeah,
say it takes, what is it, like 7 seconds to get a rocket back? I think it
I
is.
think it's like 10 seconds.
So,
well,
yeah, whatever it
takes
is.
forever.
Basically, each
when you need
box
it.
does it independently. So instead of being on one box and it gives you it once every that interval, if you're on 2 boxes, it counts it separate. So after that one interval, you'll get it 2 rockets because
Right.
you're on 2 boxes. It should. I don't think it makes a difference.
Then you have the indirect fire and
C4 you start with 3, but you can put up to 6 down at a time, I believe.
right. So with the APS, right? So if you look down, oh, not the APS, the airburst, my bad. So if you look down, there's a little rangefinder, right? on the right side of the thing. So you want to get a range in, and you see on the bottom where it says lock,
Or you can only put down 3 C4 at once.
right?
Recon, you can put 6.
So that means your range. Whatever you ADS on first, that's your range. So if you ADS close, for example, these walls right here, that's at 35 distance, right? I'm gonna hit at 35. Right, then if I shoot again, it's still 35. Right?
Go over, stand over here, and lock onto the wall. I'll stand behind it.
Okay. So the wall there. Yeah, so your range. So on the bottom you see where it says, yeah, so if you ADS, it locks automatically whatever your range is. So, right?
Yeah, and then it goes like when it's 3 or 5 meters past that, and then it detonates.
Right. Then if you look away, then you have a... Yeah, I'll ADS like, yeah, just like that. And you're hitting right at the corner. So, like, survivors on the other side of this wall, ready? I could just fire and burst right next to them. Right. So that's how you use it. Yeah, so a lot of people don't realize how to use it, but it's a it's one of the greatest tools you can use as a support player, other than C4. Right.
It doesn't do much to vehicles though.
Yeah,
I mean, light armor it can hurt it, but it's still not really worth it.
Right. So if you have those fucking camping snipers on top of those rooftops, right? On Shanghai, fucking use an air burst and blow them to hell. They won't even know what the fuck hit them. So then you got your APS, right? Red light means it's not on. Green light means it's working, right? Then you can look on what direction it's gonna look at, right?
Yeah, this should block it. Yeah, like that.
And then it blocks it.
It doesn't block grenades though.
So.
Yeah, it won't block grenades, but any sort of like rockets, grenade launcher.
Right. So the APS works as well for the smoke cone. Same thing. Darts are just like the M320 darts, right? So you just aim and shoot. So APS it takes a little to get used to, especially consistently. But once you realize how to set it and use it, it's really fucking fun. Especially when you pick it up and you're fucking getting annoyed by this bitch and like he's right on the rooftop and you stand right next to the wall or something like that and you piss him off because you don't know how to shoot you. It's fucking hilarious. Good times. So you guys have any questions for ammo itself or right? So your APS, I love using it on a logger if I play support because I can put it in the hallway and use the camera to look down the hallway and be able to call out for you guys. Like, oh no, they're peeking, right? They're pushing in the hallway. Or they're downstairs like fucking tunnels. So you want to go over Recon Survivor? Since I fucking hate Recon.
Sure. Alright. Good. Alright, the first thing... Yeah, the first thing that really matters, which a lot of people don't really consider in terms of hardcore, is that the rifle that you're using matters. So the way that they work is they're split into basically 2 categories. If you're scrolling through the list, you can see what ammo type it says they're using. And most of them are 7.62, but there's a few of them that are 3.38 Magnum. And the difference is their damage drop-off range. So something that's got 7.62, all of their minimum damages for every rifle that's a 7.62 or a 3.38 is 59. And you have 60 health. So at the furthest range, you will leave someone at 1% health. That's what people don't understand. They think that it's always a one-shot kill, and that's not necessarily true. The 7.62 rifles, their drop-off ends at 100 meters. So anyone 100 meters or further, you're going to leave them on 1 health unless it's a headshot.
What about the 4.0 ACT?
It's the same stats as the 338s.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the 338 Magnum rounds, their damage drops off. It ends at 150 meters, so you have that extra 50 meters that you can kill someone in one hit. That's the major difference. The other differences are the stuff that you can detonate, like the IEDs on this map. 7.62 rounds, you cannot detonate them, but if you use a 338 weapon, such as like the Gall Magnum or the M98B, if you shoot one of those IEDs twice, it will blow it up. You won't have to press the button or shoot it with an explosive weapon or anything. As for secondaries, you can really choose whatever you want, but this is the class where it probably matters most. So like whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, a lot of people tend to just run the G18 or the 93R because it's easy. I typically just run the M9 because that's what I'm used to.
1911, bro.
Yeah. And then once you get to gadgets, these are where you have a lot of different things, some of which don't really matter in hardcore. The first one, the PLD, it's basically like I usually treat it as binoculars. I mean, it has night vision, like the IRNV scope, so if someone's sniping at you, you can pull them out real quickly and find their glint really, really easy. But you can also lock onto vehicles with it, which helps if, someone like Jar is running mostly a law rocket, because they'll be able to lock onto it or whatever. But like I said, mostly they're good for binoculars. If you're not running a rangefinder on your rifle, which I suggest doing, that way you can tell how far away someone is once you get better at it. 'Cause if you know what rifle you're using, what ammo it has, that's how far away someone is, whether or not you need to go for the head. But the PLD has a built-in rangefinder, and it also has different zoom levels. It doesn't tell you that, but when you're aiming, if you press up on the D-pad, it switches between 1 and 3 times.
Oh, I didn't know
C4, C4 is the same as on the sport class, but you start with 3, but you can place up to 6 at once without them disappearing, which the sport class can't do. Motion sensors, they aren't really worth it in hardcore because you'd have to constantly be looking at your big map for them to be worth using. But basically you just throw them like a grenade, and then within the 25 meter radius, which you'll see it pinging on the map, it'll show people. Spawn beacons, pretty obvious. You place them down. If it's in the open, you'll parachute. If it's inside, you won't. They're really useful, but if your squad is good at staying alive, you might not necessarily need it. I'll run it sometimes on locker, but most of the time I don't tend to run it. Tugs is basically the same as the motion sensors, but you don't really have as many options with it because you have to stay near it for it to be worth using. The SOFLAM is an interesting gadget because it works the same as the PLD, but you set it up somewhere and it stays there, and then it works the same as the MP-APS from support. If you use the gadget again, you can rotate it. And the way that this works is, say you set it up on a hill somewhere, anything that goes into its line of sight, even when you're not using it, will be designated. Whereas the PLD, you have to be looking through it to designate whatever you want. So say you're on like Operation Firestorm and you just put it up on the hill near the US base, it'll designate anything that's right in front of it. So say a chopper takes off or something, it'll see it without you having to even use it.
Yeah, it pisses off a lot of choppers because they think they're getting stingered. But
yeah, but it's really easy to see because it's just a giant
it's just
red laser.
red light and just consistently holding you. So.
Yeah, the MAV can be really useful because it's obviously thermal. It's really easy to spot it and hear it and everything when it's flying around, but it's good to use because you can destroy enemy equipment. So like if you see mines on the road, you can detonate those if you press the fire button. Same with C4, but stuff like mortars, if someone's mortaring you a bunch or they have a spawn beacon up on a building or something, if you take an MAV up, it'll actually lock onto that gadget, and then if you press the fire button, it'll destroy it. So say someone has a spawn beacon on a building, but they're not up there anymore, you can destroy it and they can't get back. If they're up there, you can actually bump it into them and push them off the building if you really want to, and then destroy the beacon. So it's nice, but it isn't really worth using if you don't want to constantly be sitting somewhere using it, because it's not something that really works on its own. If you're not using it, it slowly descends and spots people around it, but then you still have to be looking at the big map. and it's really easy to spot it. So the claymores work the same as they did on support. The SUAV is a what is that? It's China Rising, I think.
Yeah, China, right?
China, yeah. Basically, it works the same as the PLD and the slow flam. You basically throw it like a paper airplane, and it flies around for a little bit, and whatever you're aiming at while it's flying, it designates it. It's not really useful. You can kill people with it, but you can only run over one person before it blows up.
Yeah,
So
it's more of a troll thing.
yeah, yeah. Grenades, you can use whatever you want. I usually use smokes because they really help if you're trying to get up close to a tank or just away from anything in general. The field upgrades, this is where it depends what you're trying to do. If you're intent on destroying vehicles and just being a general help to your team, Spec Ops is probably the best because it increases the amount of C4 you can carry at once to 6 from 3. And so what that does is it allows you to take out 2 tanks instead of 1 tank from spawn. So basically the way it used to work when the game came out is that it took 2 C4 to blow up a tank. In which you could, so when the game came out, if you had spawned normally, you'd have 3 C4, you could take out 1 tank. But once you got this and you had 6, you could take out 3. They thought that was too OP, so they nerfed it. Now it takes 3 C4, so normally you can take out 1 tank. With this, you can take out 2. Everything else in there isn't really worth it, because most of it's for not being spotted as long. Yeah, the first 3, defensive, offensive, and shadow, they're basically the same as all the other classes. Offensive can be nice if you're going to run something that's not a sniper rifle. Like if you're going to run a DMR or a carbine or anything, that can be worth it. That way you have the extra ammo and the movement speed. Sniper is only really worth it if you're really trying to learn sniping, if you're not great at it right away, because the first thing you get is you can hold your breath for longer. When you first start out, holding your breath is something you really want to be doing. Once you get better and start moving in closer, you really don't need it as much because the scope sway really isn't all that intense in this game once you get used to things. So it's good if you're first starting out or if you really just want to sit further back, but if you're going to sit that far back, you might as well just end up running a bipod, in which case holding your breath becomes irrelevant anyways. So basically Spec Ops and offensive is what you're going to want to be running depending on the type of weapon you're using. So, let's see, let me switch to your team and I'll show you some of the stuff. Nappy, can you get a vehicle and bring it to, one of the flags?
What vehicle?
Any vehicle.
Chopper or ground?
It doesn't matter, because I can designate both of them.
Where do you want it?
Just at A or B. Let me come to where you guys are.
Dude, I didn't know you could zoom in with this thing. I'm kind
Yeah,
of
it works.
amazed.
The 338 Recon? It's not bad. Its muzzle velocity isn't all that great. I'd rather use the M98B. But yeah, see, like if I put a PLD up on this building, I can aim it around to lock Nappy's chopper, but if he flies towards the road, and I just leave it facing that way, even when I'm not using it, it'll still designate him because he's in front of it. The other thing you can do with both the MAV and the SOFLAM is you can zoom in by pressing your aim button. It's different than with the PLD, because the PLD, basically what it is, it's the exact same thing that you have in the campaign if you played it, where they give you the binoculars. It's just that in this you can designate, and it's in IRNB. That's basically all I did was port that gadget over. But say I switch to spawn beacons and switch back to Nappy's team.
So the thing about spawn beacons is the way you're looking when you place it is the way you're gonna spawn. So a lot of people just run up in the corners and place it in the corner. Yeah, you spawned in the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, but like if
Yeah,
If
you
I
get
put
to
my spawn beacon here, whoever's using the MAV, you should be able to look at it when it finishes locking on, but if you press the fire button, it'll destroy it.
Alright.
So you can do that with explosives too. Like if you see mines or C4 laying around, you can detonate those. It won't lock onto it, but you can just fire a charge whichever direction you're aiming.
Yeah.
One thing that you might want to do, which is just in the options, I'm gonna have to find it, is change your parachute auto deploy,
Right.
because by default it's on.
So with
What?
your you
Yeah.
can turn it off.
What? Turn what
Auto
off?
deploy on your parachute. So when
Oh
you
yeah,
fall,
yeah. But then you just got to remember that you turned it off.
right.
I'm just saying. I leave it. I leave it on.
I leave it on because sometimes you fall in. Yeah.
Yeah, parachute auto deploy is under gameplay and advanced, and it's one of the first few things there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What it's good for
Nice
is
to like
if
ammo.
you say you spawn on a spawn beacon, but you know that there's enemies around. Generally, when you spawn on it, it'll parachute for you, and then you're slowly falling through the air while everybody is watching you.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes you might want to get to the ground faster and pull your chute that way.
What color are your reticles, guys?
Mine is green.
Mine is pink.
White. White. How that seems like it'll blend in with everything else, huh?
Yeah.
You know you could change it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You mine is pink, just like Jarman's, because
Yeah.
the
Mine's
color stands
green.
out. You go to gameplay, right?
Gameplay.
Gameplay,
Advanced.
and then scroll
And
down.
spawn in.
Spawn in
Yeah.
before you do it. That way, it
Yeah,
actually
Spawn
shows
in
you.
with like a hollow sight. You could also change the size and the glow of the reticle. So like it, But just remember, if you
Redeploy.
want to make the
Options.
reticle,
Redeploy and get a
Yeah.
weapon with a
Gameplay
scope.
and advanced.
Or like a red dot
if you
sight.
want to make the reticle really big, that's cool. But then if you put a sight on your pistol, it's gonna be huge, and you're not gonna be able to see
And
anything.
these changes
So-
do not affect the high power scopes that you put on like
Yeah.
sniper rifles.
Mhm.
It's only the red dot sights and the
The 4 bys, and I don't. Does it affect the 4 by ACOG?
Yes.
I believe
It
so,
does.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it changes
So-
the entire reticle size, not just
So you gotta.
the triangle itself.
So go to your options, David. Go down to gameplay, and all the way in the bottom you will see advanced options. Advanced options.
Yeah, it'll say this.
Right.
And just keep scrolling down until it zooms in your scope while
It
you're in the
zooms in.
options.
And that's
And it'll say like soldier optics reticle,
right.
and that's what lets you change size, glow, and the components for the color.
Oh, the thing about the map as well. So if it goes on fire, you can actually pick it back up to reheal it.
Yeah, it'll go back
Yeah.
to 100 if you pick it up. Same with the EOD bot, I think.
Right. Tip
Yeah,
fire.
it should be the next section right after
Yeah,
that.
no, one more. Yeah, size. I have my glow at 200%.
Yeah, same with mine. I have mine size 100, glow 200, and then red and blue components are 0 and green is 100.
Use green.
Yeah.
Yeah, the glow just makes it like thicker. Oh, just put red up to 100 and blue up to 100. That's what I did.
Yeah. Yeah, green is 0.
Yeah.
That'll make it purple, yeah.
Yeah, like purplish. Yeah.
Yep.
Red and blue. Makes them like a purple color.
There you go. Ah, fuck. Make sure you hit save, please.
Yeah,
and
don't
that'll
forget.
also change the color of the site on like this raw.
Just a circle.
Just-
When
Press
you go to
circle,
back
and
out,
then-
it'll ask if you want to save.
You can also do your HUD in vehicles as well. So
Yeah, my HUD's green in vehicles and red
do
for
hit
HUDs.
markers.
Green, yeah, same as Snappy.
Alright.
Like your gun optics.
Yeah, your red dot.
It could be a pink dot.
Oh no.
No, those are always the same.
I was thinking of those. Yeah, and if you have your sizes turned up a little bit, you can actually, it actually shows the distance ranges. So the further you look away, the smaller it gets, and the closer you look at a target, the bigger it gets. It's kind of weird, but it's a nice little tool.
Yeah, for sniper scopes, the reticle changes don't apply. It's just for scopes for like the 4 times and below.
Yeah. What do you have for your sensitivities, guys?
Mine
Yeah,
is
mine are
at
35.
I'm at 50
50.
with, and I believe I have soldier zoom sensitivity at 100, and then I have
Yeah, and you can also go into your controls.
yeah, it's controls.
100% sensitivity. Pretty great. Oh yeah, no, I thought you were talking about like your regular
The
sensitivity.
basic sensitivity.
Yeah. So yeah, you could go from iron, magnified, medium range, long range,
Yeah, like
very
my
long range.
basic sensitivity is at 50, and then all my soldier zoom is at 100%.
It's back in your base options. It's
Yeah, if you just go
the
to
first
controls. Yeah, I have vehicles at 70.
35. It's nice to get all your settings like perfectly for you. Everyone's different. Like Survivor uses veteran sticks for just chat. I don't fucking know
I
why.
use veteran for everything because it's
Yeah,
better. That's why.
that's what they all say, but you know,
Yeah, I got veteran for soldier
sticks is
buttons,
the
veteran
real
for
way.
vehicle buttons, veteran for heli buttons, veteran for jet buttons.
It's
Under
the
controls
first
is
one.
the first one.
It's the first two. So that's your overall
Yeah,
sensitivity. Yeah,
it's right above vehicle
sensitivity.
sensitivity.
Then you got vehicle sensitivity.
Yeah, and then if you scroll all the way down, it'll have your zoom sensitivity, which is a percent. That's a percentage of your regular. So if your regular was at 20, then your zoom would have been at 20 because it's 100% of that.
Right. Yeah, just go up and down. I mean, it takes a while to find what you really like. Then you could also swap L1 with R1, L2, and R2, right? With the PS4 controllers, they have the triggers, right? But actually, the R1 and L1 is a faster like what's
Yeah,
it called, button speed.
there's yeah, because it's not a trigger. It's
It's
just a
not a
straight
trigger; it's
button.
just a straight button.
So
Then it takes a
there's
little
no
while to get used to, but
what's it called? The
delay. It's like no.
input sensitivity.
Yeah, input system.
It's just yes or no basically.
Right. Always have your kill log in, because your kill log is one of the greatest tools. If you hear firing going off like right next to you, and you hear someone die, you want to be able to check if it was an enemy or or your family that just died. You know what I'm saying? So, tutorial off.
Um,
For your audio, if you use a headset, or I strongly recommend you use war tapes for the speaker type, because war tapes, it makes like your surrounding in your audio in your options. and speaker type. So, speaker type? No, war tapes. It makes like the little noises a lot more, right? You can hear. It makes it
Yeah,
louder, but like
there's more bass to everything too, a little
right.
bit. So like explosions, you'll hear it a lot better.
Yeah, surrounds if you're using headset, right? That's if you want to talk to people in your squad. Microphone volume, play volume. That's up to you. Subtitles for commentary. No, that we're in a party, so
Because we're on a
that's
party,
only
so it
for
doesn't use it.
in-game audio, right? Your well, that's for campaign mode.
That's mostly in campaign. It doesn't do
Yeah,
anything in multiplayer.
there's no subtitles. You even though you spam I need ammo to a support,
Yeah,
he ain't gonna
that just
fucking
goes in
hear
the
you.
chat. It's just not gonna read it.
Yeah. Then you got your brightness. I have it at 80. A lot of people have it at 100, but you play out walking outside
I have mine
in
at
a
50
sandstorm.
for brightness.
It's fucking hell. Alright. Alright. Yeah, people use colorblind. I just keep it off because
Yeah,
not really.
I don't think you can change it. That's right. You can. I don't think you can change it in this one. I think it's Battlefield 1 where it lets you choose custom, right?
Yeah, custom. Yeah. Also, if you want to check your lag in game, all you gotta do is just go to your options and push R3. It'll actually test it for you right on the screen. And so if
Yeah,
you're like,
it'll
am I
give you a thing
lagging
and it'll
or
tell you how much.
yeah,
Um,
what's lag you
the other
have?
thing you can do
Go
is
to your options and push R3 immediately. And it says system performance tense. Like, am I lagging or is it just a server? It'll tell you. So yeah, pack your loss, pack it in. Server name Monkey Sparta. Weird, but damn, I have a lot of battle packs.
okay, yeah. If you go back into your options too, um, where is it? No, I guess it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I thought you could turn that on. Yeah, no, I thought you could do that. They must have turned it so that the network performance symbols show up automatically.
Yeah, it shows up automatically. You can't take that out anymore. So, you
All right, guys, I got to split.
Alright, man. We'll catch you later.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
You guys gonna do live games in like an hour? Should
Yeah,
back
I'll
in
be
an
up
hour.
on all
Yeah.
night. So.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to bed at like 11 midnight. All right, so I'll see you in a little while.
Alright, man. So, in your screen, right, when you're spawned in, you know how the left side of your stuff, where your mini map and shit would be, right? You can actually turn all that off. On my HUD, I only have the middle part where it shows like your RPG ammo, your count, right? Then I have my kill feed. Because of the only two things. I hate having shit on my HUD, but that's up to you personally, right? Right, yeah, that's part of your mini-map area. So, yes. So I have that off. It's in your advanced gameplay. It's under a mini-map, so a lot of people in normal fucking put their mini-map to like 200%, where it covers like half of their fucking screen. I don't know how they do it. Yeah, I don't know why they do that, but that's whatever. That's yeah, the lowest you could go is 70. I just have everything else down to 0. Then it shows all that. Your icon visibility, all that's off for me. And when I play normal, it's not even there. It's good. Then your deployment scene, you got the vehicle occupants, right? Shows you what class they have, what rank they are.
Yeah,
That's up
that's
to
a
you.
good thing to have on.
Right. Then you have your.
Especially,
Right.
you can do it when you're alive too. If you scroll down further, it's a good thing to have, especially if you're going to be in like a transport chopper per se. You can see whether or not like the person flying is like a level 12, and you're like, oh, that might be
I
why
have a
this
tall
person has no idea
sniper
what they're doing.
flying up into the antennas.
And then you can figure they're probably going to bail, and you can get ready to actually react to that, as opposed to just being left in the wind. That's
Yeah, that's miscellaneous head, I believe. All right.
yeah. I think it's down further. You got
No, it's
um
miscellaneous.
common.
It's up. It's up higher.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, the stuff I was talking about's almost all the way at the bottom.
So you can just turn that all the way off.
You can turn on. It'll. What I'm talking about, it's under friend HUD world icons, all pretty much all the way down. It'll say ranks. You can turn that to show, and vehicle occupants class. You can turn that on to show as well. That way, when you're in a vehicle with someone, you can see what they're playing as and what their rank is. It's especially useful if like you jump in a tank with someone and you find out they're like a medic, then you know that you're basically going to be screwed if you're not also an engineer, because no one's going to be able to repair you at that point. No.
No. So, you guys have any questions so far? We'll go over vehicles. What fun vehicles? You want to join our teams, whatever? Or you just. Deploy. We're gonna go on vehicles. So, engineer value with the repair tool. Engineer repair tool. What do you guys want to do? Tanks or chopper troopers or jets? Very bad at jets. Sorry, you want to do jets? You're the fucking jet god over here. We might have to hear double the jets.
Yeah, if you want to, if you,
No, I could just land in and drop it off, right?
we can do,
No, we up for it. So I'll come and drop off
yeah.
at your spawn.
Yeah, that might work. Let me also switch to the other team. Drop off a jet. When you spawn in jets, there's very few maps that it actually spawns you on the ground. Most of them it spawns you already in the air. So, but
Yeah.
Where are you going? We gotta get back here.
Um. How are we gonna
do you have
do
yours
this?
set to normal controls for jets too, or do you have yours for
Yeah, I have a default. What do you have that?
Yeah, and it's a lot easier that way.
I might actually just.
Because your left stick is nothing but yaw, so it never changes your speed when you're trying to make minor adjustments. So,
So what does your left stick do?
my left stick is just to do the slight yaw left and right,
Oh yeah, it's
same as yours, but I don't accidentally start changing my speed when it does that.
okay.
Alright, the jets, they basically all fly the same. The controls are the same for both of them. It's just that the stealth jets are a lot more maneuverable and faster than the attack jets.
Right.
And they're better at air-to-air as opposed to the attack jets, which are devastating at air-to-ground. The attack jet is the one that's got the larger symbol. It's for your team, I think it's the Q5 Phantom is the attack jet, and the J20 is the stealth jet. For you, if you have your controls set to normal, so you're gonna have to explain that. I don't know what the normal controls are.
Well, I strongly recommend Run Veteran. Right.
Yeah, okay.
Well, because I'm used to running. I just don't like how L1 is for shoot. It feels so weird.
Well,
doing
mine it's L2 is to shoot, so you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I recommend
Yeah,
that.
if you go into your options, you can do
No, just
no,
your
it's just
plane.
jets. If you go into the options, controls, and scroll down, it's jet buttons. Switch that
Helos,
to
I
veteran.
recommend fucking sticks.
Where are you going? We need you here, soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah. What that'll jet sticks, leave that alone. Yeah.
Yeah, just leave that.
Alright. Once you spawn in, just
Just
stay
find out.
in the air a little bit. But how it works is your right stick, if you push up and down, that'll pitch your jet up and down depending on whether or not you got it set to inverted. I think it is set to inverted, so if you push up, it pitches down. If you normal,
No.
okay, if you want it inverted, you can change that. It should be,
Controls.
yeah, under options, controls, under where the jet buttons, where it's vertical flight, you can set that to inverted.
Yeah, inverted. No, you could do it in the air. Just
No, you can do it
options.
while you're flying. You don't lose any altitude, really, when you're flying, as long as you're not pressing any of the buttons and you're not pitched towards the ground.
Who's in their attack jet? Oh, okay. So the attack jet is mainly meant for ground targets, right? You don't want to try to fight
Don't go over there. We need you here, soldier.
air targets with it. I mean, you could, but it's designed for ground targets. It's designed to destroy tanks, destroy vehicles, right? The stealth jet, on the other hand, is meant for air targets. So if you're playing with an attack jet and you run heat seekers with it, you're pretty much wasting it, right?
Yeah.
L1.
Yeah, and then for yeah, the way the controls are gonna work is that R2 is to accelerate, L2 is to brake,
JDM the jets.
R1 is gonna be your comros to like spot and commands and everything, and then L1 is gonna be your fire button.
So how do you free
Triangle switches. How do you free look? If you're in
up.
veteran controls, if you press and hold up on the D-pad, you can look around without controlling your jet. What you can do is you can still yaw when you're doing it. It's just really awkward. But basically the way that it works is the right stick is pretty much what you're going to use for just flying in general. So you can pitch up and down, and you can roll left and right. And so basically when you want to turn, all you're going to do is just roll the direction that you want to turn in, and then pitch up or down the direction. So like if you want to go left, you would just roll like say 90 degrees left, and then pitch the plane to go upwards, and you basically make a circle that way. The left stick, moving it left and right, is just going to yaw. It's basically just there for minor adjustments for when you're actually lining up to shoot at something. Once you get better, you can actually start using both sticks at once while you're turning to do different types of maneuvers. Like you might be doing a loop, but instead of just doing a loop while staying at the same altitude, you could be getting lower at the same time. or higher a little bit, depends on what you want to do. One of the things that a lot of people don't recognize is that when you're flying a plane, there's two different numbers that are on the HUD on the plane. The one on the right is your altitude in meters. It can be good to know that, depending, because most vehicles and stuff that can lock on you have a range of about 400 to 500 meters, so if you're flying above that, they normally can't lock onto you. The number on the left is your speed, which is good to know because if you ever get into dogfights and you really have to catch up to someone that's basically just doing loops, which a lot of people just end up doing that, the closer you can get to about 300 speed, the better. But the slower you go, the tighter you can turn.
Is boost
As
still
you go,
L3?
it's gonna be worse. Yeah, when you're in the jets, whatever your setting is, if you have it to veteran, L3 is your afterburners.
Right.
They're good when you really need to get across the map and everything, but I don't suggest using them all the time.
Yeah.
They're hard. It's harder to tell when you're actually playing, but when you're in a jet and you turn, when you roll and then you pitch to turn, you can see the streaks in the air from your wings. The tighter you turn, the more those are present. But when you have your afterburners on, especially on the stealth jet, your engines themselves also make those. So for something like the J20, it's got two engines. Now you've got 4 of those lines in the air, 1 from each engine and 1 from each wing. Whereas if you're not using your afterburners, you only have the 2 from the wing. It's just something to be aware of in case someone might be coming after you. It just makes it a little bit harder for them to see you.
You still get stuck in the height ceiling? Or they fixed
What?
that, right? You don't get stuck in the height ceiling anymore, right?
Yeah, no, you don't, when you go up to the height ceiling, you don't get stuck anymore. You'll just
Oh yeah, I see.
it'll
Just
force
push
you back down. The different countermeasures you got is flares, ECMs, and what's it called, fire extinguisher. Fire extinguisher really isn't worth it. All it does is take away the mobility hit if you get disabled. But you can't actually counter anything like rockets that are coming in. Flares are nice, just because they recharge faster than the ECMs, but they wear off really quickly. ECMs are probably your best bet, just because it gets rid of the missile that's on you, as well as making it so something can't lock onto you for a short time afterwards. The other thing that they do, which a lot of people don't know of, which isn't really as worth it on hardcore, but when you activate ECMs, it actually makes it so that you cannot be spotted on the map. So if you're ever in a dogfight with someone, and if you were playing normal and you needed to get away, you could just hit ECMs and try to get away that way. But,
The way ECMs work when you get fired at, the rocket actually spins around your jet. So
yeah, what it'll do is it locks onto a point in front of your jet, and it'll spin around that. So the slower you go, or just going in a straight line, is usually better than trying to turn or pitch away, because you might end up actually just running into the rocket instead of it just circling you.
Yeah, people get pissed when they pop ECMs with getting shot at and don't realize that they're actually turning into it, and when they get killed from the rocket, and they're like, "What the fuck? I just popped ECMs." Yeah, but you're returning, bro. Like, it happens.
Yeah, because what it'll do is the rocket goes in a set path in a circle around the vehicle.
Right.
But if you turn and the rocket doesn't keep up with that, you just basically end up running into the rocket. As far as weapons go, on the stealth jet, the primary weapons are 20mm cannons, 25mm cannons, and 30mm cannons. Basically, you're trading fire rate for damage with all of those. I find that the best is probably just 25mm. They're in the middle. You can damage pretty much every vehicle, just not extremely quickly. Whereas like 20mm can't hurt tanks, and 30mm are fairly slow, so they're not as good against air targets. Your secondaries are basically all mostly for air. You've got heat seekers, which are lock on, fire, and forget. Those are probably one of the better ones overall. Then you've got Um, they,
Uh,
down is your countermeasure.
Down or R1? Oh no, you can't push R1, right? No.
No, it's down.
Yeah, it's down.
You have laser guided missiles on the stealth jet. I suggest not using those because the stealth jet isn't really built for
Ground targets.
ground vehicles. I mean, you can if you really want to, but it's not usually worth it. Passive radar missiles, you can fire them without having to lock onto something first, but you have to hold the lock on whatever you want it to hit, similar to how a javelin works, or the igloo. And then active radar, you never have to lock on, you just fire and it locks on automatically when it gets close to a vehicle, similar to the wall rocket or the staff shell. They're not really all that good, so I'd normally run with 25 millimeters and the heat seekers, which you get those fairly quickly. I'm pretty sure you actually start with heat seekers.
Yeah, pretty sure you start with.
The attack jets, which is basically my favorite vehicle in the game. The main cannon is 30 millimeter cannon. You cannot change that out. It is not worth it even if they were to have something else to change that out. It does massive damage to ground vehicles, but not a whole lot to air vehicles. Your secondaries, you start with the laser guided missile. You might as well not even use it even though it's equipped, because you're gonna do way more damage with your main cannon than you are with the laser guided missile. Hydra rockets can be okay. They work basically the same as the attack choppers. Rockets for the gunner, for the driver. Again, you're still going to do way more damage with your main cannon. The TV missiles can be nice, but while you're controlling the missile, you're not in control of your jet, so you really have to be aware of what you're doing before you fire. And then the last unlock for the attack jet period is the JDAM bomb, which is probably the best out of all of them. It basically, when you switch to it, it pulls up a little, like basically a mini map inside the cockpit of your jet. It's got a target on it, and there is no lead time. You don't have to lead where it's going to aim, and when you press fire, it basically just drops a dumbfire bomb on a vehicle, and if you hit, say, an enemy tank directly with it, it does 50 damage. So on one strafing run, if they don't have active protection, you can easily take out a tank in one strafing run. Same with the attack boats, they're usually just really easy to kill. And the countermeasures on the attack jet are the same as the stealth jet, with fire extinguishers, flares, and ECMs. For jets in general, the accessory slot you can get on it, there's a few things you can choose. One of them is like thermal coating or something like that, where it takes longer for vehicles to lock onto you. The one it starts with is gyro stabilizer. I recommend staying with that because you eventually are going to get hit by a missile, and it's really going to mess you up in terms of flying. If you don't have that on, you're basically just going to start spiraling. Whereas if you have the gyro stabilizers, when you're disabled, you might still be able to actually control the plane enough to be able to land and repair it. I don't remember offhand what the other things that come on the attack jet and the stealth jet are, but basically just stick with gyro stabilizers for those. One important thing that you need to know is when you fly close to the ground and you're going slow, it'll automatically pull out the landing gear and it'll start to slow you down. It doesn't work just flying close to the ground while you're like at faster speeds, but what you can do is if you find somewhere that's flat, and usually it's best if it's flat. You can do it on bumpy terrain, but you'll end up blowing up more likely than not. So like on this map in particular, it's really easy near the bases of both flags to just land on the roads after you pass behind the deployment. If you just slow down and pitch up a little bit while you're close to the ground, you'll be able to land, and then you can jump out to, say, repair. But the thing you need to know with when you're landing and jumping out is don't jump out until your plane is completely stopped moving, because if your plane's still moving a little bit, you're gonna eject as opposed to just getting out beside the plane, which is just gonna waste time with you likely being out of bounds, because most of the time you're gonna want to land out of bounds to repair so that nothing else is like shooting at you.
What maps do you
And when you're
recommend to learn to fly?
to land
No,
or to
to learn
fly
how
in
to
general,
fly. Both.
uh, this is a good map to learn to fly on. Other than the fact that the mobile anti-air is going to be like the bane of your existence, but there's a lot of ground targets for the attack jet on this map. What other maps are good for it? Rogue Transmission is a really good map to learn to fly on, just because there's a lot of obstacles like the cranes and the towers and everything. You can really learn to start maneuvering around everything.
You're leaving the AO. Get back
Parasol
here.
Storm to a lesser extent. The attack jets are pretty good on that, just because you can strafe the boats really easily.
What about
Maps are good for it
Firestorm?
from the base game. Firestorm's good, but that's another DLC map.
Right.
Especially around the Charlie Point on Operation Firestorm. That's a really fun place to learn to fly around. But even the test range, I mean, there's not as much in terms of like obstacles, but with stealth jets, you've got the UAVs on the test range that you can learn to go around and kill. I mean, they're really weak, but you can do it. And then with the attack jets, there's at least 2 enemy attack boats on the test range that you can learn to kill. 1 tank, an LAV, a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, and then for taking off, once you're done landing, basically the same thing. You just hold the accelerate button and pitch up for as much as you can. And provided there aren't any major bumps or anything in your way, it'll let you take off. But you still want to hold the accelerate button even once you're a little bit up into the air. That way you don't end up just stalling again right away. But
Do you guys have any questions about jets?
for the attack jet, yes.
Alright, but it takes a while.
The
It's
only
last
problem
one.
with it is it's the very, very last unlock for the attack jets. So,
Alright.
like I said, a lot of the things that you start with, like you start with laser guided, you might as well not even use it because it's going to be blocked by the active protection on like tanks and LAVs, and that's basically 30 damage, and all that time down the drain, you might as well just be using your main cannon. It's going to do way more damage. Hydro rockets can be nice, that's the next thing I'd suggest using, but at the same time, it's still going to do less damage than your main gun. So basically what you're going to want to do, I'd suggest, is if you have any XP boosts, every time you're in a plane, just put the highest XP boost on it you can, and just go that way. The stealth jets are pretty much what you're going to want to use from the start, other than you start out with 20mm cannons instead of the 25 or the 30. And you don't start out with the ECM jammers, you start out with flares, I think. But other than those two, you basically already have everything that you're going to want for the stealth jets.
And the
At least to start out,
F-35,
anyways.
the F-35
Yeah.
stealth jet, you could actually hover with it. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, the F-35, the way that works, it's the US stealth jet. If you get close to the ground and you hold the brakes to, say, like if you were trying to land, what it'll actually do is it'll go into hover mode. And the way that works is at that point, the more you hold the brakes, the more altitude you'll gain. And then at that point, your controls work very similar to a helicopter, which I can see Jar is already getting ready to explain as he's in the attack chopper. It makes you a very easy target, and I'd only really suggest doing that if you're going to use laser guided on the jets, because you can just hover up a lot higher and lock onto stuff. But again, you're an easy target. Or if you have to land in a very tight spot or take off in a very tight spot, you can do that. Yeah, and while you're diving, if you actually hold the brakes, it'll actually increase the time that you're in that dive, so you have more time to actually shoot at whatever you're shooting at, and more time to adjust with the left stick in case your aim is slightly off.
L2.
L1, or L2, sorry,
L2.
yeah,
L2, and R2 is to accelerate. L2 for brake.
yeah.
And L3 is for
Pretty
afterburners.
much. Yeah, and anytime that there's two pilots of equal skill and one's in a stealth jet and one's in an attack jet, the stealth jet's gonna win.
Yeah,
Just because it's more maneuverable.
it's more maneuver here.
Yeah, it's more maneuverable, it's faster. Basically, if there's nothing that the attack jet has to lock onto the stealth jet other than heat seekers, which if you're using heat seekers on a stealth or an attack jet, you're using it wrong. Yeah, it's basically the same thing as if you're using the IFVs and you're using the canister shell as your primary. You're using it wrong.
Right.
So, the only other major thing is be aware of your big map. It's gonna like whenever a vehicle shoots, it's gonna show up on the map. And then you also have to be aware of below radar, which is really, really important. It's different for jets and helicopters, but what it is in jets, if you are flying below 50 meters, which, like I said, you got that on the right side of your HUD where it shows your altitude. If it's below 50, other air vehicles cannot lock onto you. Stingers and Igloos still can, but other air vehicles cannot lock onto you. In helicopters, it works the same way, but it's 25 meters instead of 50 meters. So it's better if you're fighting, like if you've got two scout choppers fighting one another, or you got a stealth jet on you and you're in an attack jet, you can try to fly lower. You're more vulnerable to stuff like tanks and other vehicles and RPGs, but the other air vehicles aren't going to be able to lock you. And if you ever see an enemy air vehicle, spot it, because if it's near your base, the automatic anti-air in your base will start to fire at it by itself. And it does not a whole lot of damage, but it does enough to deter it from being near your base.
Yeah. Especially when there's like an attack chopper or a transport chopper
It's like
going into your
whoever's
base. Yeah.
in this stealth jet, if you turn around to fly towards your base and you see me flying near your base, if you spot me, the anti-air in your base is going to start shooting at me. So,
R1.
it's R1.
Same as infantry. See that shooting?
Yeah. And that'll, like I said, it doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it's enough to deter you from being there for an extended period of time.
Yeah, sometimes you'll see an enemy chopper try to go into your base, sneak in your base, and steal your chopper. And just all you gotta do is just spot them. And it'll fuck them up. So.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it's
the
not
other
mine
thing
either, but it's always...
you can be aware of, which it works sometimes, not so much on this map because there aren't as much. Rogue transmission, it's pretty good. If you're ever flying in an area that's normally out of bounds and you see trees like this that look two-dimensional, they're not actually there. You can fly through them.
Yeah, you can actually fly right through them.
On
They
like
look
Rogue's
2D.
transmission, if you go back towards like the mountain area that's behind Delta and there's a plane on you or something, anything that sees you, just fly low through all the 2D trees. They're not going to kill you.
Yeah, they're not. They're
So-
actually not real. Just there for show.
Yeah. So,
So we do choppers?
yeah, that's pretty much everything for jets. I'd suggest going test range to start just learning to control the jets, fly them. Maybe just shoot at some of the attack boats are pretty easy to hit. The UAVs are pretty easy to hit. And then after that, you can start to get into actual games working on them. Not every map has jets, and certain maps only have one kind of jet or the other, but if you get a good team in an attack jet and a stealth jet, and they know what their purpose is, you know, not an attack jet going for air vehicles and a stealth jet going for ground vehicles, then you can basically hold air superiority, because unlike a chopper, a jet can gain altitude while the chopper's locking it, and the chopper, while aiming up, actually ends up descending. So the higher you go in a jet, the lower the chopper's gonna have to be to lock onto you, and they might end up crashing. So,
Oh, the worst thing you could do with a
Only
jet
thing-
as well is actually take it from spawn just to bail on top of a rooftop.
Yeah, the jets are really powerful vehicles. They're not something you really want to waste, especially
Right.
since you got a 90-second cooldown on it for it to respawn.
If you're gonna jump
Sometimes even
out,
when you bail out, the
right?
jets don't explode, they'll fall to the ground. And if someone
That's
finds
smart.
it and it's in a good enough spot, you can take it. And then you're basically screwed for the rest of the game.
Really
Because
fun.
the only things that are really a threat for jets are other jets in the mobile in the air, if you know what you're doing. Another really good map actually to learn to fly on, they only have stealth jets on it, and this is once you're like really confident in how well you're flying, is Dawnbreaker. Just
Ooh,
because there's so
Dawnbreaker.
many buildings. The US team has the F-35s, you can try to hover in between stuff if you want, but there's a lot of spots in Dawnbreaker where you can cut sideways and fit between buildings that you wouldn't think you'd normally be able to.
Okay.
So,
Any
yeah,
choppers?
that's basically about jets. You doing choppers?
Yeah, let's do choppers. Alright, if one of
Do
you
you want me
guys
to do
want us...
your team?
Yeah, you might as well. Yeah. If you ever have a chance to steal another air vehicle from the enemy, take your fucking chance. Because it's a big tool to have. Especially like a little bird or a tag chopper. It's one of the greatest tools.
Yeah, then if it's repairing it in the scout choppers, but that's good because
Someone's spotting me. Let's go grab
super
the enemy attack chopper. Or probably go 2 choppers. Get you guys in the chopper. I want to go for attack choppers first. Because attack choppers, all the choppers are a little bit different, but the attack chopper is probably the most different out of all of them. Yeah, it's okay. We'll come pick him. I'm landing somewhere. Okay. I'm coming for you.
So you know about quick switching in choppers, right? It works best in attack choppers since there's only 2 seats.
Yeah. I don't really want to teach them that because there's no...
Well, no, I meant to take off faster and stuff, not
Oh,
the,
right,
the
yeah.
countermeasures and shit.
Pick up, we'll go over gunning first, right? Communicating with pilot. So, as a gunner, you guys see that top bar, right? It looks like a compass where it moves, right? Then that's your compass. So if you're ever communicating with your pilot, and let's say you see a tank at 225, right? Just say tank 225, and the pilot can look at it immediately. Or tank 317, right? You don't have to say the exact number. You could just say like 315 plus 2, or 315 minus 2, right? And he will tell you, I see it, and you guys can fire upon it. Pretty simple, right? You also, do you guys see the box, right? Like a rectangle in the bottom, right?
I saw it.
So, if that's the gunner visual, oh shit, drop my controller. So, the gunner, oh really? Oh, would you did it for vehicles? Okay. Alright, so that box is theirs. So, you want to let them fly somewhere? We'll let them in. Let them fly?
And the driver?
Yeah, driver fly. Fly did it? Okay, yeah. Alright, this way. So, that box that you guys see, that rectangle, the little small box is actually where the gunner is looking. reference to your vehicle. So you don't want their gunner box to be on the side of the walls. As a pilot, you want to be able to give them a chance. So if you ever see your pilot or your gunner looking at the corner and just shooting, you could kind of turn and get him the chance to shoot that way, right? That's how you reference to know where your gunner is shooting at all times. On the right side of your screen, right, there's like a vertical bar, right? That's actually your height ceiling. So the higher the get, the higher you get in the sky, the taller it's gonna go. The lower you get, the lower you're gonna go. So that you could reference if you're kind of scraping low to the ground, you want to see. There's always gonna be a little space when you land, but that's because there's a little height from actually being on the ground, right? So if you fly over like a hill and whatnot, you actually see it jump up and down. Over buildings, you will see it jump up and down.
But the box next to it is actually your height in meters.
Right.
So
you got your height in meters, and the left side is your speed. Am I correct? Right.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Then with the attack chopper, the major thing is actually working with your gunner. You
don't want to reload right away. Like, say you only shoot like 2 or 3 rockets or something, don't reload right away because it works the same way that weapons work. You'll lose all that ammo.
Reload. That works in tanks as well. Usually all the vehicles are like that in hardcore.
Yeah, tanks they shoot 1 shell at a time, so it's not as much an issue. But LAVs, you got 12 rounds before you got to reload. If you only shoot like 2, you just lost the other 10.
As a pilot, you start off with main rockets. I forgot the name for it. You get the Hydras.
The Hydra rockets.
Yeah, Hydra rockets. You got the smart rockets. Smart rockets actually lock onto.
Smart rockets you get last.
Right, but you actually lock onto the vehicle, but they do less damage. I strongly recommend.
They're not really good.
Yeah, they're not good. They're only meant to like fight other vehicles. But with your Hydras, that's your main weapon to fight ground targets.
The Hydra rockets, they're bigger magazine size. They fire faster and they're better all around. Zuni rockets, they're 8-round magazine. They fire slower. They do less damage to infantry and more damage to vehicles.
Right. So
if you're going strictly for vehicles, you might want to go with the Zuni rockets. But if you're going for all-purpose, Hydras are better.
Yeah, I recommend Hydras because you can still do decent amount of damage to armor, but you also could see those infantries running in groups in the open, and you might be able to strafe them. Your secondary weapons, you have either Elite Seekers or Tow Missiles. Tow Missiles takes a lot of skill, but they're one kills for choppers. But
also, going along with that, when you're flying, you have like the main reticle, and then there's like a little vertical bar. It looks like the letter I that floats around your reticle. That's where your actual point of aim is. So your rockets will go to the center of that letter I. So, like, if you're flying slightly to the right, that reticle will actually be a little bit to the left, I think it is. It's not actually the center of your screen, it's wherever that reticle is.
Yeah, the eye is where your missiles are going to hit.
Yeah, it normally hits around the middle, but normally a vehicle is big enough that it covers most of it anyways. But it's mostly going to move the most when you're flying sideways or when you're moving faster. There's a similar thing with the scout choppers too, but it's a different reticle.
You see the eye, David? So if you spin, the eye moves. That's where it hits. You see ECMs or your flares. Notification is going to be on your left side. You have it active, it will show your countdown as well after you fire it. ECMs will actually tell you when it's active, and it has a 13 seconds countdown. Same for jets, so if you fly low, other air vehicles can't lock onto you, right?
Yeah, for helicopters it's 25 meters instead of 50.
Yeah. What else? Oh, so on your screen, there's a. Is it a ball? I believe, right
Or
on
what?
the bottom where it shows which way you're tilting.
Yeah, there's a ball in between
Yeah.
two vertical lines above where the box for it's showing where your gunner's looking.
Yeah. So that's
It basically works like a level.
yeah.
It
So
just basically tells you where your pitch is, and
yeah.
it's the same thing above your targeting reticle. There's like um, hash marks that look like it's making part of a circle, and there's an arrow that goes along with it that's to help you realize how much you're pitching one way or another.
Yeah. And if you're still running default, if you push L2, if you hold L2, you can actually look around as a pilot. So that's your free look, so you don't have to actually turn every time you think you see an infantry. You just take a little peek left or right and keep your same path. All you gotta do is just let go of it and it'll snap you right back to the front. Flying choppers is it's kind of weird. Or it gets kind of when you get hit. Like let's say you hit a wall or you hit a tower or something. Get ready. All you gotta do is just restabilize yourself. Let go of the left stick and just restabilize yourself, and you could pick off. Because once you get hit by a wall, you automatically get mobility hit. Just like if you get hit by an AA chopper. That's where people fuck up, and that's when they crash. Is when they
Yeah, it's
actually
usually
hit
best to
something.
just let go of everything for a second,
Yeah, just
figure out which
let
way you're
them
rolling.
reset. Yeah, and just use your right stick until you actually balance yourself out, and you can fly away. It's that simple. Right. When you're fighting other choppers, right? Here's a little trick. So you run heat seekers, and you could actually you'll lock onto them. If you switch out of heat seekers and just fire your main gun, they think you actually fired them, right? Because there's a little delay on their screen that thinks
Yeah,
that
that,
it's
and
actually
even if they
coming.
don't do that, you can just fire one heat seeker, don't fire both of them. Because if you
Right.
fire one, they'll pop their countermeasures, and then you just wait until it goes away, and then you can fire your other one. I mean, it's not as much as if you are able to trick them into popping it before you fire one, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah, so what I like to do is just like if I have a gunner and the gunner is running TV missile, right? I'll hold my lock and I'll tell my gunner to fire the TV missile towards him, and I'll let go of my lock as soon as he fires. And it looks like a heat seeker's coming his way, so he usually just ECMs, and they think they're cool and they just sit there, so you might get an easy shot for
Yeah,
your
and
gunner.
the TV missiles, the way those aim is, they don't aim like your normal gunner where you can look around. It's fixed aiming forwards from the chopper, but it aims slightly down. So when you want to give your gunner a shot with the TV missile, you actually have to pitch backwards a little bit.
So with choppers, you can actually barrel roll, do flips and shit. Attack choppers are not
Yeah,
that
you run
vulnerable.
those.
I mean, it's not that
Yeah, the scout choppers are
horrible,
better for doing loops and
right?
stuff.
You don't want to do loops with the
You
transport.
definitely, you
Okay,
definitely don't want to be doing that with a transport chopper.
right. Well, I got you.
The gunners aren't the best at attacking the choppers, really, in terms of damage. They can do a decent amount, but if you're aiming for the cockpit, you can actually kill the passengers of the attack choppers and everything with splash damage, and you might be able to actually steal it.
Ooh, fuck your TV, bro. That shit came out of
No,
nowhere.
I missed on purpose.
I know, it's... So, if you're gonna lose a fight with another chopper, spin 180 and kind of dive away, and kind of dive for the ground, right? He's gonna chase you no matter what, but he can't lock onto you. Especially when it's another attack chopper. Just fly towards your base, try to spin it back towards him, and mark him. Because you got the mobile, I mean, you got the base AA to come and help you. So, you gotta, it's a mind game with against other choppers. Um, there's a lot of choppers that once they get fired upon, they will just run straight into their base. You don't want to chase them all the time, because If you fire one shot at them and they just turn and run away, they're setting you up for a mobile AA. Just like in some maps, you might be able just to see the mobile AA like on a hillside camping somewhere, and you gotta run. Just fly towards your AA and your team, and they'll probably see that chopper and help you out. So there's gonna be times where you have to escape. If you're running with a gunner, if you're gonna bail out as a pilot, let the gunner know before you actually bail out. Be like, bail, bail, bail. Just scream at them, and they'll bail.
The other thing, I don't remember if it's there in the attack chopper or not, but with your reticle, there's like a horizontal bar that'll float around depending on how level your chopper is in terms of pitching forwards and backwards. When your main aiming reticle is lined up with that horizontal line, that means that you're basically at 0 pitch in terms of degrees. That's basically where you can hover at. So if that horizontal bar ends up going above your reticle, you're pitched forwards. If it's below it, you're pitched backwards.
When you're trying to land with a chopper, use your left stick when you're slowing down to kind of push up a little bit when you're about to hit the ground. A lot of people, when they try to land, they slam into the ground, and especially when you're injured or you're beeping, you're about to get killed, and you hit the ground a little bit too hard, you're gonna kill yourself. So yeah, landing. The best way to learn how to land, I strongly recommend, is a transport. Transport is one of the good tools.
They normally have wheels, and it's harder to land atop those wheels than the ones that have skids.
Right.
Just because they fall over on their side a lot easier.
With the Littlebirds, a lot of people like to repair from inside, but it's faster.
Really slow.
Yeah, it's really slow. The faster way is just to bail out of it. If you're really low and you have a repairman in there and you guys are safe, it's just actually land and let him jump out and repair you. Because if you repair inside, it takes 3 times longer than it does from
Something
outside.
like that. It takes forever. It's basically comparable to like the normal regeneration of like repair in normal mode.
Right.
So that's not really worth it. I mean, you can do it. It can help. Especially if you're disabled, it's definitely worth it to do it if your chopper's disabled to have your friendlies repairing, but in terms of like anything that shoots at you is gonna out damage the repair rate that you're putting out. Even like the guns on a Jeep, they're gonna hurt you faster than you're repairing.
The best maps I recommend to learn how to fly is probably Shanghai, Dawnbreaker, Fireside Storm for the transport, because you can land from island to island, land on top of rooftops. As a transport chopper, you want to use it as a transport chopper. That's what it's designed for, and a lot of people just use it for...
Yeah, because everybody on your team can spawn on it.
Right, everyone on your team can spawn on it. If you know you're gonna try not to turn a lot of quickly when you ride over an objective, because everyone's gonna bail. And the hardcore team killing is on, you could get wiped. You could get fucking kicked out of the server for having everyone jump out of your transport at one time. And it's possible. As a transport, what I like to do if I'm gonna land, on an objective or something, I'll come in with my path, slow down, actually touch the ground for a second, and then actually just pick back up. When you're a passenger in a transport chopper and you see the transport actually land, you bail out immediately because you kind of freak out because you don't know what's going to happen. So that's the best way to get people out, or you could just tell them straight up, just get out of your chopper with your comros.
Yeah, because there's certain ones that only your squad can see, and certain ones that your whole team can see. They'll tell you when you make the command. You'll say next to it squad or team. I think the ones that are squad only are like request order, affirmative, negative. Yeah, all the others are
for team. Sometimes it doesn't. Well, it seems like it doesn't work when you request ammo or health. if you're running smokes and you're gonna repair yourself, and you're like the only person that has to repair yourself, I recommend just fucking popping smokes, because there might be a jet in the air looking for you, and if he sees you just sitting there repairing yourself, he's gonna strafe you and probably kill you.
That's a problem that you gotta be aware of in choppers. You always want to be looking at your altitude, especially if someone's trying to get above you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's always nice to know all of the vehicles, because there might be a time where
Yeah, if you know what they can do, they're easier to counter.
yeah, it's always fun. China Rising DLC brought air superiority, and there's actually a map
Yeah,
where it's all
it's
choppers,
attack choppers.
all
Yeah,
tank choppers.
it's better on the map that's all jets, to be
Yeah,
honest. But
no one
it's a
really
game
plays
mode
it
they probably
anymore.
shouldn't have brought back to begin with.
Yeah, but it's a fun. It's fun to play
Yeah,
that
much
only
better at
chopper
tank
one.
superiority.
Right.
Yeah, especially if you're good enough to like get below the balloons and get around the mountains and everything.
Yeah, get a tow launcher or a tow missile and
Yeah, a good
TVs.
gunner that knows how to use TVs.
Remember when people used to just land in that river and get bailed out and use stingers on it?
Yeah, before they made it so you couldn't bail out.
Yeah, it is. Good times. Alright. You guys have any questions for your choppers? Yeah, it just takes time. Especially when...
Ah, okay. So whenever you're out of a vehicle, any vehicle, over time it'll actually start taking damage by itself, even if it's yours and you jumped out of it. So that's a good reason to be an engineer if you're in a vehicle and you need to get out, is because even if you leave it there for, say, like 10, 20 seconds and go back to it, it's going to be weaker than when you got out. So, there is a time frame. Yeah, just so that you're not basically having it sit there and being wasted. That way everyone, like, if you just jump out of a chopper and you left it, like, say, up on a mountain, if no one can use it at that point, you basically just wasted it. So, but it seems to be faster with air vehicles than ground vehicles.
So you want to go over tanks? Tanks, LOVs.
Sure.
What do you use as a primary? AP, right?
AP shell. Yep.
Right. Yeah, so your primary weapon, or your primary shell for your tanks, you have AP, HE, and Saber. AP is probably the most overall damage. There's not really
Yeah,
any
AP
much
and
trouble.
Saber do the same damage as each other.
Yeah. Yeah, the Saber travels faster.
Yeah,
Um,
it just doesn't have any splash damage.
yeah. The
So,
HE is meant for infantry.
infantry.
It's not really useful against other tanks. But when you're in a tank, you gotta your job is gonna be fighting other tanks, right?
Yeah,
And
and the
contesting
HE
vehicles,
shell takes longer to reload than the AP and the Saber shell.
right? Your secondary, um, you have the LMG. That's what you basically start out with. It's good for vehicles like air vehicles, infantry,
And infantry.
yeah, infantry as well.
No, the LMG, the only things it can damage in terms of vehicles are like the quad bikes and the light jeeps. Anything MRAP and bigger or air vehicles, it doesn't do anything
Right.
to.
Um, you got your basic guidance shell. People, a lot of people, you'll see a lot of tank duos that run guided shells and staff them in a SOFAM for the gunner. It's a deadly combination, but you can fight around it. I wouldn't recommend it. What I use is the HMG, right? You can fight light armor, like MRAPs. You can fight choppers, um, right? It's good at fighting infantry. People use canister cells as well, but it's mostly meant for Yeah, it's a shotgun for your tank.
Yeah, it's good for infantry and air vehicles.
Right.
Yeah, when you switch between any type of separate shell,
Yeah, you're
it
actually.
has to basically reload.
Yeah, it's a whole
There was a
different.
time in Battlefield 3 where that wasn't a thing, and it was OP. So
Yeah, so you got the staff shell as well. It's basically the law for vehicles. So you shoot a little bit over them and it will hit them. It says it's designed for infantry, but no, it's meant just for vehicles. For your countermeasures, you have active protection. I strongly recommend active protection. That's probably the easiest one to use. It works best when you're fighting other vehicles and you know they're going to hit you with something powerful. So if you're fighting, let's say you're in a tank or an LAV and you're fighting another LAV, if he has a tow missile, you could wait for his tow missile. Pop your active protection. He wasted his heavy missile through your
yeah,
active
you
protection.
basically just saved yourself 35 damage.
If you take a rocket from, mhm, it's
No.
different. Um, so
Reactive armor, the way that works is normally there's a certain damage threshold on vehicles to do a light mobility hit or mobility kill so that it either moves slower or doesn't move at all. Reactive armor just makes that damage threshold 10 points higher. So instead of being like 30, it might be 40.
right,
But it doesn't actually mitigate damage whatsoever.
yeah, it doesn't protect you from any damage. So I run rather than running the reactive armor, I run thermal camos because a lot of other
Yeah.
tanks run thermals. So you actually don't stick out like a big fucking like blob coming around the mountain, right? But um, autoloader does not work in hardcore. Neither does maintenance, right? Because you have full mag reloads in your tanks, and your maintenance you don't have no automatically regen,
Well, autoloader works. It
right?
it just makes the time in between reloading from the shell you just fired to the next one a little bit faster.
Oh, I see. I see what you mean. We're actually reloading the whole.
Yeah.
Right. But you also for your
But yeah,
countermeasures you also have
maintenance
IR
does nothing.
smoke, right? That just blocks like guided shells are coming your way. Doesn't protect you from any damage. Smoke screen.
It's interesting to
It's
say the
it's
least.
interesting, right? We found out the other
So
day that it
basically,
actually. Yeah, go ahead.
the way it works is say you have an RPG and you want to shoot at a tank, and you say you want to shoot it directly in the rear. Normally that'll do like 55 damage. If the tank pops smoke screen, what it does is it makes the rocket you fired do the minimum damage that it would do to the weakest or the strongest side of the tank. So like an RPG, the minimum damage it'll do to a tank is 21, and that's if it hits it in the front. So if you shoot at the back of a tank, even though it would normally do 55, if he pops smoke screen, your rocket's only going to do 21 damage.
Yeah, so your rocket actually doesn't. It seems like your
So
rocket
it
doesn't know
lessens
what
the
side.
damage that you're gonna it
Yeah.
lessens the damage that you're getting hit with, but it doesn't actually stop it.
Plus, it makes a fucking big ass cloud of smoke, like you threw a smoke grenade
Yeah,
on top
which
of
can be
yourself.
good and bad.
Yeah, it's good to get out of there. Fire extinguisher, it works. So if you're on fire, you pop it, you're not disabled anymore, right?
Yeah, if your tank got hit and it can't move, but you're still not disabled, if you hit it, it makes it so you can move again.
Yeah. You see a lot of duos, they're gonna run fire extinguisher in this. So if they really need it, the driver will just jump out of the gunner, will go to driver's seat, and he'll pop it and help him out of there. But that's pretty rare. Um, I recommend active protection because yeah, it's probably the best out of all four. Your optics, it's up to you. I use thermals. Survivor, you
Typically
use
use zoom.
zooms, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Night vision doesn't really work as a driver. I mean, it's worth it, but you rather use thermals in that case. Right. Um, then you also got your gunner. So your gunner I run thermals as well. You could also use gunner zoom or gunner higher and MV. But your gunner upgrade is a good one. So you got your belt figure.
That makes it so that you can
Your
fire
reload.
longer before it overheats,
Right.
and it cools down faster once it is overheated.
Proximity scan is meant for normal. It's just like a tugs for you, right? You got your SOFAM that actually locks on targets just like a sniper SOFAM. It's the same exact thing. But then I use the gunner incendiary as for my tank, right? Because you have those fucking snipers that try to run up to you. You gotta. They try to come up. So when driving your tank, if you're going to use a gravager, let's try to run the map. Right. You have on the bottom right of your screen is what I like to call the clock, right? If you switch to the gunner seat, it actually moves around. So the longer one is, the bigger hand is the main gun, and the smaller hand is for the gunner seat. So as a gunner, you want to be able, you want to scan. You don't want to be fixated on the same as your tank driver, because you're not actually scanning no one. So if you're moving and you guys are in the open, I call it 12 and 6. Whatever way your tank is looking, your driver maintaining, you want to look the opposite. Just keep it at 12 and 6. Even if he rotates right, you rotate left. You know.
Yeah,
And,
you still got the compass up top, like you do with the
right.
choppers. And
Compass doesn't work
at the
for
very bottom,
gunner.
yeah, at the very bottom middle of your screen as driver, I think it's in a different spot as the gunner. Yeah. So for the driver, it's the bottom middle. For the gunner, it's the top middle. The number that changes depending on where you look, that's the range to wherever you're looking at. So
Yeah.
eventually you can start to figure out what exactly the range is to things, how high you need to aim up to be able to hit them. And on the left side of your screen, it tells you whether or not your countermeasures are ready, whether you have them on, and how long it is until they're ready to use again, as well as the degrees from horizontal that your tank turret is aiming up or down, which admittedly isn't all that important, but it's there.
Yeah. For the gunner, you also got the 2 bars on the side with a the like circle kind of on the bottomish, like 2 more bars
That's
below
the
it.
same thing. It
Yeah.
shows how high or low you're
How high
aiming.
you going?
The circle is horizontal.
It's great to use when you're trying to hit a sniper with your incinerators. So you kind of want to like Kobe it type of deal. Um, you can tell how far you're gonna shoot it. So if it's on the circle, that's where you're aiming is where it's gonna shoot. Alright. I got a question. I gotta switch my tank camo. You know what? You want to ask it if you want. We're here to help. Okay. So with your with your tank, you can also, a lot of people, one of the biggest mistakes as a rookie driver is they try to use their whole tank to turn their turret, right? You just want to turn your turret and use the left stick as you're driving, right? Don't try to use it all as one. For example, if there's like let's say this road right here was like in an alleyway, right? You just kind of want to keep it peeked out and just drive forward while watching your turret stay in the same way. So you can just peek, run cover, fire, peek back, right? So you don't actually go up to them and face your whole tank and get fucked there. Because that's what happens a lot, especially when you fight infantry as well. If it's like an engineer, if I could trap you into an alleyway, I'm gonna fuck you up. And you're gonna have nowhere to go. Like, I just love that the most. And so if you are fighting and you have cover, just simply turn your tank and you kind of, with the sticks, you go from forward to right. You see how that works when you turn your turret? So you kind of like keep it differently. Remember, your ass is your biggest weakness. So keep harassing. With alleyways, I strongly recommend you don't go in there like this, right? Because you could get fucking killed immediately. And it's fun. Then you also got your secondary gadget. There's also times where you just don't run into an objective. Take your time, just like an infantry player. Take your time, slowly scan building to building. If you're not sure if someone you can't really see into that building, just fucking blow up the building, bro. And people like kind of like try to peek on the little holes and shit, like through the windows. Like no, like fuck it, like if they're in there, yeah, just fucking let them fucking die. They're either gonna run away or they're gonna let you kill them. Yeah. Especially with like walls and shit. You could also go into buildings with your tank. For example, if you're getting shot at from a jet, right, or a chopper is fucking with you and you can't really hit it, just go into a building. They're not gonna fucking hit you. They can't hit you inside the building. Yeah, just use your tactic. You just be smart with it. Was it Shanghai? On what objective is that? Delta objective, right?
Bravo, you can.
No, it's
Bravo,
Delta.
yeah, Delta.
Delta.
Yeah, you can go inside the shops that are inside the building.
Right, the one where
And
you
most
can like
people don't look there.
with the glass ceiling. Yeah, they don't look inside, and you fucking some infantry player thinks it's just infantry taking the point, but then they jump down and see a tank in their face. Yeah, so you just gotta just don't take the passive route with it, because as an engineer, with the many hours I played on it, if you're passive with it, I'm just gonna fire, hit, and cover, and you're just gonna sit there because you're not aggressive, especially against other engineers. So wait for it, look, scan.
With this map, at least map knowledge, knowing where the IEDs are, can really help.
And plus, it's always fun just ramming into the building and fighting a whole squad of enemies, medics or something like that, that don't know what the fuck to do. You could go through walls all the time. You'll see some dumbass engineer that will fire at you, right? And they'll probably hit you, but go right around the wall and hold on the wall, and you could just hit the wall and it will just kill them. So things are fun. They're meant to be disruptive. Make it destructive. Yeah, that's what you do. And fuck it, like it's Battlefield. That's what makes Battlefield great. Is the destruction. Yeah, like if they want to hide there, like they're gonna fucking run. But you gotta be careful, because if you do run through a building and sit into the building, you could get that sniper to fuck with you and see for you. Right. Yeah. It's fun. You want to
You guys are sitting right next to an IED.
Yeah, you're right by an IED, Matt. It's like right up on your ass. Yeah, we can try. It looks like bombs.
Just a
and
bunch of
stuff.
RPGs
You could
stacked
jump out
together.
and look at it. Yeah. It's an IED.
Normally it'll blow you up when you run over it.
I mean, you
Especially
could
at higher
if you
speed.
want to. You run over with a Jeep, that's just... Yeah, those are the detonators that
Yeah.
connected to you. You could actually, if you don't know where the detonator is, you can actually follow the wires. Right. Yeah, it's like right under the big antenna. Boom. I don't know why they did not bring back tank superiority.
They did
Oh,
in the
so
CTE for one of
yeah,
the
they
birthdays
had
they
it,
got.
right? But so okay, let's say you're fighting an enemy tank, right? And he comes,
Game's about to
uh,
restart.
well, no, we lost. So if you're fighting another tank and you guys are actually running shit at each other, and you get below, or he gets on top of you, fucking fire,
Yeah,
because
stop
he
short.
can't. Yeah, stop short. He's just gonna keep on firing. He's gonna try to hit you, but he has no way to do it because he's looking right. Well, a lot of it was redeploys, so no, we can find another server. All right. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I have a lot of fun. All right. It's a lot different from normal because you got the third-person view and tanks. And a lot of people they convert from normal to hardcore and actually don't know what to do. But it's a lot of fun.
I'll be right back if you want to find a server.
I'm actually need to these dogs. But you guys have any questions? Or anybody on stream? I haven't. Right, we're always here to help. We use the stream today. We went over everything because our whole goal, like we talked about before, is to break everything down in individual field and individual videos. So yeah, so people in our community when they actually join, a lot of them come from normal, but they look for that teamwork aspect. And when we play normal, we really fucking dominate. I mean, it's just way too easy for us and we like the hardcore aspect of everything. That's why we stick with hardcore, and we so we want to use these videos to like if they're new, we could just give them a whole playlist to teach, or someone wants to work on their skills, they could just reference back to it. If there might be something that you forgot today that we look back. So we did the whole live stream today to make like a syllabus for our videos coming up. We're excited. It's gonna be really cool. If you guys have any questions, like, yeah, the Airverse is really fun. Yeah, yeah, because oh, yeah, the locker's fun to use it into, especially in the tunnels. Yeah, lockers. I love locker, but sometimes I hate fucking locker. That's just what the fuck. Yeah, it's a good Steam app. Yeah, it's a fun. It's a fun one. Okay.